Okay, so now it's recording. So now you're going to say, this episode is brought to you by my daddy and his friends.
My daddy and his friends.
But say the whole sentence. So this episode is brought to you by my daddy and his friends.
This episode is brought to you by my daddy and his friends.
And can you say, episode 100, baby?
Episode 100, baby.
Say it again.
Episode 100, baby.
Welcome to I Was a Teenage Film Snob. I'm James Chalmers, your friendly neighborhood film snob, and that is the 100th time I've said that. Technically not, because of the bonus episodes and stuff from before, but 100th official time. It is episode 100. Let me say it again, 100. And we're finally here. I've been kind of pimping this for the last few months, telling you, hey, we're doing something special, and then just flat out saying it's going to be a radio play. And that's what tonight's episode, this week's episode, whenever you're listening to, that's what it is. It's a radio play. I'm so excited to be at episode 100. It's kind of crazy. As I've said time and time again, I never thought I'd get past episode 10. I thought I'd run out of ideas, run out of guests. But somehow, against all odds, we are here, 100 episodes, and it's awesome, man. Like, it feels like such an achievement. And, you know, I'm very aware I'm not out saving lives and things like that, but just like a little achievement for me where the podcast began as just like a grain of an idea of like, hey, I don't really get to talk about movies with my friends anymore, so let's create a show where I can just do that, and we'll just share it with the world. And if only one person listens, then, you know, at least we had fun along the way. But instead, we're kind of coming up on 1,600 streams, which, again, I know isn't going to change the world. You know, it's not going to make me a celebrity, but I don't really want that anyway. With that being said, if you want to endorse me and pay me lots of money and make the show famous, then go right ahead, because, you know, that'd be a great job. But it's just kind of crazy how much the show has grown in the last 2 years, how many people have joined me on the adventure, whether it's people I've known in my life, or people I've met along the way, and there's been a bunch of both of that. So tonight's episode is a celebration of the podcast. It's a celebration of my guests. It's a celebration of movies. We're going to talk a lot about movies, but we're actually not going to do any lists for once. It's time to mix it up. This is not the first intro I've recorded for the show. I actually did record an intro for the show with Tina as we read for the first scene. But I was really unprepared, and even though I don't do a lot of preparation for my intros, being episode 100, I wanted to kind of give it a bit more, I don't know, a bit more of my personality and stuff like that. So I'm going to play the original one for you right after this, so you'll be able to hear the difference. But I think you'll agree I've come with a bit more pep and vigor than I did in the original one. But yeah, so here we are. I'm not going to go on too long. There's a bunch of surprise guests coming along the way. This is the most ambitious episode we've ever done. It's a written performance. People are performing my words, which is kind of cool as someone who's a fan of movies and storytelling, to finally be able to kind of put something together myself and then get people acted out has been really fun. So everyone who you hear on the show tonight or today, whenever you're listening to it, you have heard on the podcast before. They've talked about their favorite movies time and time again. If you listened from the very beginning, if you don't skip that theme music, there's a voice you've never heard before, which I was very excited about. But otherwise, yeah, I'm not going to tell you who's in the show. You have to stick around and listen, although I'll probably spoil it in the comments. And then stick around at the end of the episode. We're going to kind of wrap things up and thank everyone for their contributions to the podcast thus far and to this episode, and give you a little bit of a tease for what's coming next as well. I've been saying for a while that things are changing. The podcast is not going anywhere. I have no intentions of slowing down, but there are some things on the horizon which may impact it a little bit. So I'm going to tell you more about that coming soon. So until then, I'm going to let you go ahead and enjoy this. I'm going to pass you back to James and his cast of the past, and you can listen to the episode, and I hope you enjoy it. Like, that's all this is. It's just a bit of fun. It's very silly, but it's just about me and some friends getting together, trying to get as many people on the show as possible and celebrate that and kind of go from there. So without further ado, please enjoy episode 100. Thank you so much for listening to the last 99 episodes. and those bonus ones as well. And hey, if you haven't listened to all 100, that's okay. Thank you for listening to anything. If this is the first episode you've ever listened to, then you're in for an interesting time. And I hope it makes you want to go back and listen to other shows as well. Thank you again. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to present to you episode 100 of the podcast, I Was a Teenage Film Snob, the movie, parentheses, the radio play. Enjoy. Welcome to I Was a Teenage Film Snob. I'm James Chalmers, your friendly neighborhood film snob. And guys, this is episode 100. I can't believe it's here. It seems like only yesterday I started the show. I love how it's episode 100 and there are multiple people here and everyone's like, shh. You can make some noise. It's very exciting. I've been teasing it for a while. We're going to do a radio play this week. It's been a long time coming. I have a couple of guests here, but one of them is right next to me. You can say hello.
Hello!
Tina's
Congratulations!
Hey, I wasn't fishing.
Woo! Episode 100! Who would have thought? Nobody!
I didn't. I was like, 10 episodes will probably wrap up. But what a wild and crazy ride it's been.
Yeah.
It's exciting. We've been building up for a while now. The big thing about episode 100, aside from the fact that it's like, wow, what a cool milestone, was how do we celebrate it? You know, like episode 50, I was like, we'll talk about 50 movies. Just, another list. And that, I wouldn't say it was a catastrophe, but I learned a lot from episode 50, which was getting 5 or 6 people to sit in a room for 6 hours and talk about movies is tough. So this time around, Tina's nodding, by the way. She does agree. She just didn't want to be caught on mic agreeing. So I was like, we should do something fun, do something creative, do something a little bit different. And we were talking about this a couple of episodes ago. I've been writing for years. I've been a fan of movies for years, but I've never really done anything with it because of my own kind of like, whatever's not good enough. So I thought, hey, what a great chance to showcase it. And if it's awesome, people are like, oh my goodness, where's this talent been hiding? And if it's awful, people are like, I'm glad they kept it to the audio medium. So we've taken the concept of a movie and we're going to put it on as a radio play. And I won't announce all the guests yet. I've announced a couple, but as you listen to the rest of this episode, you'll see some familiar, I was going to say faces, but it'll be familiar voices. So I guess we should just get straight into it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
I haven't read the script. I have no idea what's coming.
No one has read the script. And it's not because I've been protective of it, but because it is a little bit of a game show thing as well. So basically, you'll see as it unfolds, the premise is, I guess I'll say now, catastrophe has struck Film Snob HQ. I know, I got chills. All the guests, including myself, have been trapped in their favorite movies. Except for you. So,
woohoo!
Yeah. So your goal is going to be to save everyone. So it is heavily scripted, but there are going to be some times where you have to choose your own adventure, and there are going to be some times where you might encounter some trials in which you might need to rely on your I don't know, not victims. Victims isn't the right word. The people you need to save might be able to help you out. I did not prepare anything for this introduction.
This sounds so much fun.
So I think it'll be fun. It's very silly. You'll be playing yourself.
Nice. I can do that.
And I will be the voice of the narrator. And because as I was writing, I'm like, well, I'm not going to be a character. I'm just going to do the narration. Then I want it to be funny. So the narrator he's got some opinions, I'll be honest. Reading the scene direction, it's not quite the way a movie would normally go. But I think we should just get stuck into it. So without further ado, I think we should play the music and begin the show. So play the music. I was about to hold the screen, but you need it as well.
I need it as well, so you have to do it like that.
Alrighty, I Was a Teenage Film Snob, the movie, a radio play by James Chalmers, starring Tina, and starring James as the scene direction, and many guests to come.
Nice.
Alrighty. Scene 1, interior, Film Snob HQ. Film Snob HQ is a mess. The room is veiled in darkness except for the flickering of the projector against the wall, creating some very cliched mood lighting, perfect for a mystery. The floor is covered with Blu-rays and popcorn has been spilled across the maroon carpet tiles. On the short bookshelf behind the cinema seating, a mess of cables is linked to multiple devices, creating a loud whirring sound and giving off substantial heat. Perhaps a clue as to what occurred in this cozy nook of a viewing room. The roller door screeches loudly, in need of good oil, as a stranger lifts it to view the scene. The stranger is Tina, the protagonist in this mystery and lead of the investigation about to unfold. Behind her, 2 dogs are on her heels. The long black one is bounding with the energy of a much younger dog, while the short fuzzball is yapping annoyingly.
Shut up and stay out of here.
She pushes both dogs out of Film Snob HQ and closes the roller door behind her, wincing at the screeching sound it creates.
That door is in good need of an oil.
Yep, I just said that. This is the downside of being the omnipotent narrator. The actors get credit for my words, but I digress. Smoke is tufting from the projector and multi-device setup, causing Tina to fan it away from her face.
What has he been doing in here?
Tina has encountered her first multiple choice in the story. Spoiler alert, it's the only one. She can, 1, investigate the device and projector, 2, sort through the Blu-ray cases on the floor, 3, look under the couch and clear the fallen popcorn away, 4, turn everything off and leave Film Snob HQ for James to clean up.
Oh, I'd love to do 4, but I think I'm going to do 2.
Okay, 2, sort through the Blu-ray cases on the floor. I have to jump ahead. Tina walks over to the wall of Blu-rays and looks down at the cases that have fallen.
I should probably pick these up, but he's so picky about the way they're arranged. Maybe if I just pile them up and put them on his desk, at least they won't get trampled on.
Tina piles all of the fallen cases on the desk, noticing a few familiar titles, including Jurassic Park, Interstellar, Romeo and Juliet, Scream, Titanic, and plenty more. These may be clues to what has happened. Spoiler alert, dear audience, these are definitely clues to what has happened. So now you have to choose another option, 1, 3, or 4. So again, you can investigate the device and projector, look under the couch and clear the fallen popcorn away, or turn everything off and leave Film Snob HQ for James to clean up.
I'm going to do 1, investigate the device and projector.
Tina crouches next to the short bookcase behind the couch and looks closely at the 3 devices wired into the projector. There is a VCR containing Back to the Future, a DVD player containing The Matrix, and a Blu-ray player containing The Flash, all running simultaneously through the projector. There is an additional Blu-ray player with its disc tray empty. Next to the players, Tina notices a weird remote control, seemingly a combination of multiple remotes to operate all the devices at once. She slides the remote control into her jacket pocket and stands up. You now have 2 more options. You can look under the couch and clear the fallen popcorn away, or turn everything off and leave Film Snob HQ for James to clean up.
Oh, let's pick number 3, under the couch.
Tina walks around the front of the couch, careful not to step on any of the popcorn that has fallen on the carpet. A half-empty tin is lying on the couch itself while the rest is scattered on the floor.
Better get this off the floor before we get any ants, or worse.
She shudders. As she crawls along the carpet on hands and knees, Tina notices some of it is rolled under the couch as well. She slides her hands under the couch to sweep the fallen popcorn out from under the couch, wincing every time she touches something that isn't popcorn.
Gross.
While clearing the mess out, she feels something crumpled up and pulls it out. It's a piece of paper. She uncrumples it. Is that a word? For the purpose of this radio play, it is. She uncrumples the piece of paper to reveal a note written in James's familiar chicken scratch. She squints her eyes in order to read it, as if that does anything. People do it all the time in movies and television, but does squinting really make a difference? It feels like it would have the opposite effect. Anyway, Tina squints her eyes and reads the note.
Hey, Tina, I kind of stuffed up. Well, I achieved what I set out to do. I just hadn't considered the consequences of my actions. Good news is that Zoe is with your parents today. Bad news is that your day off is going to be spent fixing this. Aww. But maybe it'll be fun. Turns out I've managed to open a portal between reality and the fictional dimension. Don't ask me to explain the science of it. Let's just agree that the science works, and for safety purposes, maybe advise the audience not to try this at home. I'll give you a moment to address the audience now. Don't try this at home. Okay, hopefully they heed our advice.
She stops reading. There's a very real possibility that Tina will not break the fourth wall here. To be truthful, it became sort of gimmicky since Deadpool and She-Hulk made it mainstream, and when it comes to performance, it can be said that Tina is nothing but a consummate professional. So in lieu of her warning you against trying to break the walls between fiction and reality by hooking up a VCR playing Back to the Future, a DVD player playing The Matrix, and a Blu-ray player playing The Flash, all of us here at I Was a Teenage Film Snob ask that you do not try this at home. It doesn't work. It makes a mess, and honestly, there is a small chance that you risk electrocuting yourself, or worse, damaging your physical media. With that out of the way, Tina continues to read the letter from James that she found under the couch.
What audience? I'm not playing this stupid game. And don't worry if you've chosen not to warn the audience. I'm sure a higher power included the warning in some form of narration or scene direction.
Tina sighs. If we had the budget for higher production value, you'd be able to hear her eyes roll against the inside of her eyelids. If we have any budget at all, we'll likely recycle the sounds of the roller door screeching for comedic effect. Tina, in the voice of Dwigged. Yep, that was just for
comment. Seriously, get to the point. Okay, I think we've covered our bases. We can't get sued for inspiring people to break the walls of reality. And while the court of opinion might have things to say about the story so far, we can't get sued for poor writing either. Tina, I need you to look for the backup remote. I made a very cool, sleek-looking one that I took with me into the movies, but we don't have the budget to show that. So instead, you'll have to use the janky one I made by taping 3 different remotes together. Trust me, the science works. If you're reading this, I've gotten trapped in one of my favorite movies, and if that weren't bad enough, I've accidentally trapped our friends in their favorite movies too. For story purposes, my remote seems to have failed, but if the 80s have taught us anything, it's that homemade electronics put together shoddily always work. So find the remote I made. It should be near the reality matrix. That's what I'm calling the 3 players wired together. Sounds pretty cool, huh? I didn't even research that combination of words to see if it made any sense. Anyway, find the remote. That's your first task. Once you've found that, if my calculations are correct, you'll find a pile of Blu-rays on the floor with their titles, and their titles will have been augmented with the name of the friend who has disappeared. You'll need to run that movie in the reality matrix for the remote and take the remote with you. Save our friends before you come looking for me. It might make more sense for the story from a story point of view because my knowledge will definitely aid you on your journey. But if something were to go wrong, I'm the one who's got our friends trapped, so they deserve to be saved first. Plus, that saving me needs to be in the 3rd act. That's how movies work. Any questions?
Tina pauses to think if she has any questions after expertly delivering that insane monologue. It's a waste of time, though, because you can't ask a piece of paper a question and expect it to answer. James will not be able to speak through the note to her. This isn't Tom Riddle's diary.
Why am I thinking of questions to ask? It's not like this is a note in Tom Riddle's diary.
Actors steal everything, man. You have one option left. Option 4. Obviously, you've already done everything we need to do, but I think for the sake of the show, we should do option 4 as well.
Cool. I'm going to turn everything off and I'm going to leave Film Snob HQ.
This is the wrong decision. If you do this, James and your friends are trapped forever, and this officially becomes the shortest episode of the podcast ever. Shorter even than the episode where James talked to himself about how he converted his garage into a home theatre. Who would ever want to sit through that nonsense? As if the time of writing this, more people than you would expect. Once all correct tasks have been completed, which they have, it is time for Tina's adventure to begin. Tina returns to the neatly stacked pile of Blu-rays and looks at the titles on the spines. She can see the faces of the lost friends taking the place of the characters that once sat there. It's time to choose who to save first. I'm going to tell you who to save first. It's totally fine. The first movie, instead of Pretty Woman, we have Pretty Womandre, which has got Gabby and Andre in it. Jurassic Park has become Jurassic Mads. Scream has become Scream Tyler Scream. Not every movie has a good pun. Instead of Titanic, you have Mike Titanic. Mm-hmm. Instead of Young Frankenstein, we have Young Frank Kevinstein. That's a mouthful. Instead of Oppenheimer, we have Owenheimer. Instead of Hot Rod, we have Josh Rod. Definitely the dirtiest sounding title there. Instead of Romeo and Juliet, we've got Liz Lerman's Romeo and Juliet. Instead of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, it's the Temple of Dave. And instead of The Prestige, it's The Prestige with a Z, featuring the boys from Movie Bonerz. James's movies are nowhere to be found. The plot has prevented Tina from jumping to the end. So I think we should probably start with movie number 2, which is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Dave.
Nice. Cool.
Scene 2, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Dave / Liz Lerman's Romeo and Juliet. Interior, Film Snob HQ. Tina picks out the Blu-ray labeled Liz Lerman's Romeo and Juliet.
I'm not saying I believe any of this at all, but if this is true, I'm saving my sister first. And it's not just because I love her. I mean, I do, but she's going to be freaking out.
Tina opens the case to remove the disc. This is the wrong move. For Tina to be successful in this visit, she should really save David first, then Liz. Tina continues toward the reality matrix, Blu-ray disc in hand. I really shouldn't get involved, being the scene direction and all, but maybe if I sneeze quietly, no one will notice. A draft of air fills Film Snob HQ out of nowhere, wink, and the pile of movies falls over with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Dave lying precariously at the top. Tina turns around with slight fright. She looks at the pile of fallen movies, stares intently for a moment, shrugs, and returns to the reality matrix.
I'll clean it up later. Or better yet, he can clean it up once I've sorted this mess out.
Tina opens the drawer to the Blu-ray player and starts to lay the disc to Liz Lerman's Romeo and Juliet into the reality matrix. Again, I cannot stress how much of a bad move this is. I'm going to have to interfere. Hopefully this is the only time I do. Both the disc and the Blu-ray case disappear from Tina's hands like magic.
What the hell is going on?
To be fair, Tina would be way more freaked out in real life if this did happen, but as the protagonist is rarely freaked out when things like this happen, we're going to lean into the tropes. Annoying as it is, a classic's a classic. Indiana Jones slides a little closer to her due to the slippery nature of the plastic of the case. It has nothing to do with magic or the scene direction getting too involved. Tina looks at it, an eyebrow raised.
Well, David is family. Having him around would definitely make saving Liz easier. And knowing James, there's almost definitely going to be some stupid movie trivia involved. But he dares to ask another stupid crossing the street question.
Tina begins to do an impression of James that is not accurate, but does cheer her up. Tina opens the case to Indiana Jones and slides the disc into the reality matrix. She clutches the shoddily made remote tightly and allows the disc drawer to accept the movie. She clicks the enter button on the remote, and then the most impressive visual effects you could have possibly imagined fill the screen. Think the portal scene from Avengers Endgame, but even better and more awesome. Soon the backdrop changes. Interior, the Temple of Doom. The portal disappears, revealing Tina to be hidden in a rocky chasm within the Temple of Doom. She looks down below to see an army of men wearing body paint, animal pelts, and an assortment of bones as jewelry.
Well, this bodes well.
Tina wouldn't usually use the word bows in a sentence out loud, and certainly not to herself. But being exposed to the world of Indiana Jones, she seems to have been slightly imbued with the dry wit of a famous archaeologist. The army of men are chanting softly. They all stand before a large altar where the head of the cult, Mola Ram, wearing a horned headpiece, is chanting and prepared to sacrifice his captives by removing their hearts.
Kalima.
Well, that's good. Tina's eyes widen, and she looks out towards the altar at Mola Ram. As her eyes adjust in the darkness, she realizes that the man leading the cult is not Mola Ram, but instead her brother-in-law, David.
Oh, crap.
She starts to wiggle her way down the chasm and finds her way to a stone stairwell. She creeps down, lowering her body to avoid detection. As she arrives to the bottom of the stairwell, she finds herself facing the back of the large army of men, with a direct passageway through them all to David. But there is no way of getting through them without being seen. She then utilizes what can only be described as a terrible decision-making, which is common of most movie characters.
Here we go. Hey, David!
The entire army turns around in unison, their chanting stopping abruptly. They all look at Tina with a united gaze. David looks up slowly, tossing a freshly beating heart to the fire pit beside him, and wipes his bloody hand on his tunic. He points a red finger straight towards Tina and cries aloud.
Kalima!
Oh, this is so good. Tina rolls her eyes.
So this guy only says one thing? Great.
She looks around searching for a weapon of some sort. She just needs anything to defend herself from a slow-moving army of tribal cultists intent on ripping her heart out.
Why couldn't I have gone to Romeo and Juliet first? No one gets their heart ripped out in that movie.
She pauses and looks at the camera.
At least not literally.
Tina looks back towards the group of slowly advancing tribal cultists intent on ripping out her heart and starts to get slightly worried. There are no weapons nearby. For an ancient sacrificial altar, the room is very tidy. The cultists begin to chant again. It starts soft but quickly becomes louder and louder, invading Tina's ears.
Jesus Christ, it's hard to think with all that chanting. I wish I could just press mute for a second.
Sudden realization.
Maybe I could just press mute. Pause.
She reaches into her pocket, pulls out the shoddily made remote and points it at the army of men, pressing pause. They all stop instantly in their tracks and silence falls over the room. Except for a quiet scuffling. Tina looks beyond the army of men and sees David. He is the only character still not affected by the power of the remote and appears to be coming out of some sort of trance.
David?
David blinks a few times as though that would suddenly clear his mind of the trance and looks up towards Tina.
Tina?
Okay, so apparently the blinks did work. David slowly takes in his surroundings before noticing he's wearing the attire of Mola Ram. Tina and David meet in the middle of the group of the Frozen Army.
What's going on here? Why am I wearing body paint? And why does this place look like the Temple of Doom?
It's a long story, but somehow James managed to get all of his closest friends and family trapped in their favourite movies, and now I have to save you all with this remote.
She lifts the remote and points at it.
That makes absolutely no sense at all.
The science works.
The science works.
David, a teacher of actual science, chooses to ignore this statement and focuses on Tina.
Okay, ignoring the fact that this sounds like pure nonsense, you've saved me, right? So we can go home now?
I suppose so. You're the first person I've saved.
What about Liz? What about the kids? I thought you would have saved them before me.
It wouldn't have made sense for the plot. Tina needs David's help to save Liz. As for the kids, this isn't a horror movie. Plus, they've never been on the podcast.
I've tried to save Liz first, but the Blu-ray disappeared. I guess I need you to help save her? I don't think your kids are in any danger. They haven't been on the podcast before.
Look, I only understand about half of that, but why are those the rules? And technically, I think Will did feature briefly on one of those episodes.
Oh, what a nerd. Who keeps track of the background actors? The kids are safe, David.
I don't know. I'm still figuring this out. I guess we hold hands and then I press this home key on the remote.
The two clasp hands and Tina lifts the remote dramatically. If we had the budget, the score would build here to increase anticipation. So she presses the home button on the remote. Nothing happens.
What happened?
Tina gives the remote a gentle tap and presses the button again.
Nothing. I don't get it. I saved you. Why can't we go home?
Because, dear audience, as we all know, all adventures are not simply rescue missions. The hero must also face trials.
If this is a movie, like you said, and if you're the hero, like you said, then maybe saving me isn't enough.
What do you mean?
Well, no movie has the hero just swoop in and save the day that easily. They have to face some sort of trial.
See?
Ugh, great. And if this is all about James, which most of his podcast is, then it's definitely going to be about movies, which I struggle with.
Well, maybe that's why you needed to get me before Liz, because I do know movies.
As if their conversation was some type of incantation, or at the very least, a plot device, a stone pillar suddenly begins to rise from the rocky ground between them. It continues to rise until it is almost at eye level. The stone pillar has 3 rudimentary tablets fixed to it, with a piece of chalk resting on a small shelf. Each tablet contains a question which needs to be answered in order for Tina and David to leave the movie. The two start inspecting the tablets.
Okay, so each tablet has a piece of movie trivia related to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I guess we use the chalk to write our answer. There are no multiple choices, so we need to get it right.
Tina needs to attempt each question first, but can use David as a lifeline for each question, just like on the quiz show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So, Tina, question 1. What we need to know is, what is Indiana Jones's real first name?
God.
If you don't know, you can use David. There's unlimited lifelines. You can use David every single time.
Yeah, but I can't just ask him straight out what
Well,
it
you can
is.
give it a go. Like, look, it's a radio play, so there are no actual consequences.
What, David? What letter does it start with?
Oh, wow. You know what? You've actually really kind of tested me here. Like, this is a bit hard. It's on the spot. I've got to think about this a little bit more. Wow.
All I can think of is Indy. I'm trying to think of in the opening scenes when he's being the archaeologist, and he's still at home and stuff.
I really should know this.
I thought for sure David would. It's this.
Yeah. It's there somewhere, but it's just not coming right now. Sorry.
We can come back to the question.
I'll come back to it.
Question 2. What is the name of the actor who plays Short Round? And name 2 other movies or TV shows he's appeared in.
Okay, I don't know his name, but we watched something recently with him in it.
Mm-hmm.
What did we watch?
We did.
David, I reckon, can definitely answer most of this.
Yeah. So,
do you know his name, David?
Yeah, it's Ki Hoi Kwan.
That's 100% correct.
Yeah.
And he was in something new.
Something really new, something really familiar to you. In fact, if you think about one of the names of your dogs, then you'll get the answer.
Oh, he was in Loki.
He was.
Because he was in like season 3? Season 2.
He was OB.
Season 2. That's right. He was OB in Loki.
All right. And one more movie he's been in. You might want to think more about
Indiana Jones.
Well, no, other than Indiana Jones.
This was the Best Picture winner.
Sorry, say it again, David.
This one Best Picture.
Oh, was it Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Is
The
that what's
one.
called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we come back to question 1?
Yeah, I thought for sure someone would have mentioned Goonies, but yes, you.
Oh yeah, Goonies.
We can go back to question 1. David's
Okay.
still confident.
So his first name starts with H.
It does, yeah.
H.
H, yeah.
Is it Harry?
It's
not Harry.
close.
Harold?
Or
You're probably moving away from the.
Oh, okay.
let's go with
Henry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Henry.
It's Dr. Henry Jones.
Oh, there we go. Beautiful.
Question 3. Kate Capshaw plays Indy's love interest, Willie Scott, in Temple of Doom.
Mhm.
Who's she married to in real life?
I don't even know who that is.
She was the blonde one who's like,
Yeah, I know, but I've never heard
It's
of
a trick question.
Capshaw
David will probably know the answer to this one.
in
All
my
right.
life.
So who was the director of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom?
Spielberg?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's who she's married.
Oh, she's married to Spielberg.
There we go.
There you go.
With the questions answered, the remote begins to glow and vibrate.
Guess that means we're leaving.
Tina nods firmly and presses the home button in a dramatic fashion. A portal opens and surrounds them, removing them from the Temple of Doom. All the frozen cultists resume their movements and resume their culty business. Interior, Film Snob HQ. There is a flash of light as a portal opens in Film Snob HQ. Tina and David appear back in the room. David is no longer dressed like Mola Ram, but instead is wearing his everyday clothes.
Looks like things are back to normal here.
He pats his clothes absent-mindedly to ensure there are no surprises from the Temple of Doom attached to him. Tina picks up a Blu-ray from the pile. Temple of Dave has become Temple of Doom once more. Tina files it away on the shelf with the rest of the Indiana Jones franchise.
Looks like it. Now we need to save Liz.
What movie are we headed to?
Tina notices that Liz's movie has returned to the pile. She picks it up and hands it to David.
Liz Lerman.
Nope, that's David's line.
Liz Lerman's Romeo and Juliet. It's not the most creative title, is it?
I mean, James does love a pun, no matter how bad it is.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Puns are an underappreciated art form, and it takes a certain amount of determination to deliver pun titles consistently. But almost every episode leading up to the episode 100 of I Was a Teenage Film Snob has a pun title, and that ain't nothing. Tina opens the case and enters the disc into the reality matrix.
How's your Romeo and Juliet trivia?
It's fine. Hopefully they give us some easy ones.
Yeah, mine stinks too. Hold my hand.
The two hold hands, and Tina clicks the enter button on the remote. There's a flash of light, and Tina and David disappear from Film Snob HQ. Interior, the Capulet Mansion. There is a flash of light, and Tina and David arrive inside the Capulet Mansion. Nobody seems to notice their anachronistic science fiction arrival due to the overwhelmingly loud EDM and flashing lights. That and everyone in this version of Romeo and Juliet are high on ecstasy. That's not a joke, by the way. That fact came straight from Wikipedia.
Right. So, how do we find Liz?
I'm not sure. It's pretty crowded in here and loud.
It's really loud in here.
For the sake of the audience not wanting to hear Tina and David talk over the loud music and continually comment on how loud it is, I'm using my narrative abilities to lower the sound for the two of them. Every other character within the movie can still hear the music at full volume.
Oh, that's better. It would have been really annoying if we had to keep yelling at each other's ears.
You're welcome.
Yeah, someone up above must be watching over us.
Well, I'm not the watcher from the Marvel Comics, but I do okay.
So, how did you find me in the last movie?
It was pretty easy. When I arrived at the Temple of Doom, I was perched right above you while you ripped out the hearts of people.
I hope that doesn't come back to haunt me. So, we were both already in the same room, but Liz isn't here. Does that mean we have to go looking for her?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Think of this like a video game. Each level is going to come with its own challenges. I wish you could both hear me. It would make things easier, that's for sure.
I guess we should head into the party.
Maybe, but let's stick together. We don't want to get separated.
Agreed.
The two walk into the crowd of people, watching all the eccentrically dressed guests dance and move to the music.
I guess they can still hear the music. It's pretty funny watching them dance to silence.
Yeah. Whoever is controlling this definitely wanted us to be entertained.
After a few minutes of navigating the crowd, David and Tina arrive at the other side of the room near the staircase. Like magic, there is a twinkle of stardust that flashes before both their faces, before a scroll of parchment lands in Tina's hands.
I guess this is our next trial. Ready for some trivia?
Sure.
Tina unfurls the parchment and starts to read it.
Welcome one and all to the Capulet Dance, a setting for frivolity and romance.
She rolls her eyes.
If you seek your companion's bride, visit the body of water with no tide.
It's a riddle.
Well, what does it mean?
Tina and David must solve the riddle to find Liz. If they're unable to solve the riddle, another will present itself on the scroll. So, based on the movie Romeo and Juliet, based on that,
Yep.
do you know where Liz is?
I think it's got to do with the fish tank that they look at each other through.
Do you know how long it took me to write that?
And I got it straight away.
Yeah, let's read the second riddle.
But she can't be in the fish tank.
She's not in the fish tank. But I'll get you to read the second one anyway because it took a lot. It took a lot of time.
Long-term love is what you wish. Where do the Capulet keep their fish?
Yeah.
Writing in iambic pentameter is really hard. No, seriously, what the hell is iambic pentameter? That's how the riddle ends.
I think I know where Liz is. Do you?
The two run through the mansion until they see the large fish tank where Romeo and Juliet are due to meet. A familiar crop of hair can be seen through the glass, accompanied by a set of iconic wings. Tina lifts the remote.
What are you doing?
When I saved you, I had to pause the movie to break your trance. You were totally going to rip my heart out.
I hope that doesn't come back to haunt me. Okay, let's pause this thing and get out of here.
Tina lifts the remote and presses the pause button dramatically. Nothing happens.
Let me guess. It didn't work.
This is movie 2 and I'm already sick of it.
How many do you have to visit?
Another 11, depending on who said yes to appearing in the 100th episode special. But maybe there'll be a montage.
What?
I didn't say anything.
I have an idea. Just stay here.
David moves away from Tina and slowly approaches the fish tank. As he gets nearer to it, he turns his back to the tank and slouches alongside it. He then slowly turns, catching Liz's gaze, perfectly recreating the moment from the movie. Liz locks eyes with David. She smiles. He smiles. Liz blinks for a moment, as if coming out of a trance, as if it's going to work for a second time.
David, where are we?
So I guess this is going to happen every time. This feels lazy.
It's really hard to explain. And even then, it won't really make sense. But we have to get back to Tina.
Liz and David cross the hall, back to where Tina is waiting, remote in hand.
Hey, Teeny, what is this place? It looks like the scene from Romeo and Juliet.
It sure does. Grab my hand.
The three link hands and Tina presses the home button on the remote and there's a bright flash. The three disappear from the movie and Young Heart starts playing loudly in the mansion. Interior Film Snob HQ. There is a bright flash and Tina, Liz and David return to Film Snob HQ all dressed in their everyday clothes. The Blu-ray case for Romeo and Juliet has returned to normal. Tina picks it up and returns it to the shelf.
Okay, who do we save next?
What are you talking about?
Everyone who's ever been on the podcast is trapped in their favourite movie. I've just saved you and David. Now we have to get everybody else.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I told you it was complicated and it wouldn't make sense.
Very funny, guys.
I don't have time to explain the premise to every single person who gets trapped in the movie. Just believe me, the science checks out.
Apparently it does check out.
I told you it checks out. Liz mulls this over for a moment, still not really believing either Tina or David.
Okay, let's pretend I do believe this nonsense for a moment, which I don't, by the way. Then where are my kids? And why haven't you saved them yet? They should have been first.
Your kids are fine.
How do you know? The podcast has been recorded in my house. Maybe their voices appeared on the show by accident.
The rules seem to suggest that only true guests were affected. Any cameos should be safe.
Liz turns and looks at her husband with a very surprised look on her face.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was talking about our children, not cameos.
Hey, I didn't make up the rules, but everything points to them being okay. Why don't I call them now?
Yes, please.
David pulls his phone out and starts to leave Film Snob HQ.
You were stuck in a rom-com. I was tearing people's hearts out. I really hope that doesn't come back to haunt me.
David leaves Film Snob HQ, the roller door screeching behind him. Liz and Tina sit in silence for a moment.
I'm sure they're fine, Liz.
I know, you're probably right. But you and David are two of the most sane people I know, and you're acting like crazy people.
I feel a bit crazy today. It's like I'm living in a cuckoo clock.
Liz chuckles.
I'm just not good with this movie stuff. I don't know how James did it, but the science really does seem to check out. If you and David can just help me a little longer, this will all be over sooner.
Tina, if what you're saying is true, then I need to get home to the kids. You'll be fine. You're tough and you live with the movie expert.
The roller door opens again, screeching loudly, and David pokes his head through the door.
The kids are home safe, so we should probably get back there.
Can't you stay and help a little longer?
I'm actually kind of worried about the longer-term effects of being stuck in these movies. I probably need to have a lie down.
You'll be okay, Tina. Give me a call when this is all over.
Sure.
Liz starts to leave Film Snob HQ, but stops just before exiting the door. Tina looks up with hope.
Babe, how are we supposed to get home? We didn't drive here.
That's a good point, David. Why don't you both help me out and then I'll drive you home?
No need. Car's parked out front.
How?
Movie magic, I guess. See you later, Tina.
Liz and David leave Tina alone in Film Snob HQ to resume their lives.
Well, I suppose they're only leaving due to scheduling issues. If this was real life, I know they'd be here for me. What? I didn't say anything.
Does Tina have VCR-induced madness? Is her mind overloaded due to reality being blurred? All will be answered.
Time to save someone else, I guess.
End scene 2. Scene 3, Jurassic Mads, interior, Film Snob HQ. Tina picks up the Blu-ray labeled Jurassic Mads and opens the case.
I guess Maddie is my next best shot. She's pretty good with movies and she'll have my back.
Tina walks over to the reality matrix and inserts the disc inside. She takes a deep breath and clicks the enter button. There is a flash of light and Tina disappears from Film Snob HQ. Exterior, Island Nublar. There is a flash of light and Tina appears in the lush greenery of Island Nublar. It is not yet clear whether she's in a dinosaur enclosure or within the safety of the fenced area. Not that these fences do much against dinosaurs. Spoilers for a 30-year-old movie. Tina starts making her way through the greenery.
Where the hell am I on this island? Maddie, I love you, but why couldn't your favourite movie be School of Rock or The Breakfast Club? The whole movie is set in like one room, not an enormous island covered in prehistoric monsters.
As she continues to wade through the jungle, Tina spots something glint in the light resting against a fern. As she gets closer, she realizes that it's a machete.
Not sure what the rules are regarding weapons, but on an island full of dinosaurs, I think I'll take this.
Reality is bleeding between life and fiction. I think we can throw the rules out the window. I'm going to allow the machete. Tina continues walking through the greenery, machete clutched tight in both her hands. A variety of ambient sounds can be heard as she navigates the jungle. The clicking and chirping of prehistoric bugs and beetles, the squawking of colourful birds, the shaking of the wind rustling through the large, leathery leaves of many different plants that are long since dead in our timeline, and the low growling of many, many dinosaurs.
I really hope I'm on the right side of the fence, and that growling better keep in the distance.
Tina swings the machete wildly in all directions for just a moment, as if to prove to the jungle that she's not afraid to use it. The machete appears to have had the opposite effect, because in the midst of all her swinging, the flash of the blade seems to have caught the attention of something larger than Tina, because loud footsteps begin to thud towards her. Tina turns around to see the trees behind her shaking violently, as if something large is walking between them and pushing them aside. A loud reptilian squawk fills the air, but before it can reach Tina, a soft whizzing sound hits her ears, and a small dart flies past her into the unknown of the jungle. Seconds later, the large figure thuds to the ground unconscious. Tina turns back just in time for someone to grab her hand with their cold fingers. It's Maddie.
Maddie?
Hey.
It's me, Tina!
Yeah, I know who you are. What are you doing here?
There's a look of relief on Tina's face as she realizes she won't have to break any trances here. No additional blinking required, it would seem.
I'm here to save you. Get you out of here and head home.
Save me from what? My dream come true? Have you seen this place? It's perfect. I get to walk with dinosaurs.
Tina sighs. She didn't expect she would have to convince someone from leaving the movie. Certainly not her very rational friend.
Please tell me this isn't real, Maddie. You've got a life beyond the frame here. This is all fiction, but your family needs you out there. I need you out there.
Maddie continues pulling Tina through the jungle until they emerge onto a field of brontosauruses. Brontosauri? The familiar John Williams score plays over the valley as they reveal themselves.
Can you hear that music?
Tina shoots Maddie a puzzled look.
Just watch.
The dinosaurs continue to meander across the plain. The larger, older ones gather around a group of trees and begin to softly chew the highest leaves, while the smaller, younger ones move a little quicker, playing the way a young elephant or rhinoceros might play.
Isn't it amazing? Never did I think I would ever get to see a real dinosaur up close, but here we are.
Maddie, it isn't real. This is still just a movie. You're just having a more immersive experience than most.
Maddie turns to look at Tina with a soft, sad smile.
I know, but it doesn't mean it isn't cool. I know I've got to go home. I want to go home. You don't have to convince me, but this is a fantasy I can get behind. No chores, no kids, no job, just me and some dinosaurs living on an island.
Tina doesn't respond. She gets it. Most adults will get it. In fact, they are the target demographic for this scene here. If you're an adult, you've definitely had the fantasy of disappearing into isolation at times. You would never trade the life you have now, but sometimes a little journey into solitude would do you a world of good.
We can stay and watch the dinosaurs a little longer if you like.
Just one more minute.
The two women stand side by side, holding hands, watching the warm glow of the sun wash over the fields of prehistoric giants. It is a moment of calm that Tina has not yet experienced in her adventures, and despite the urgency of her quest, she is happy to just have a moment where nothing is going wrong or trying to kill her.
Okay, let's get out of here.
That's not how it works, unfortunately.
What do you mean? I was stuck in here. You found your way to me. Surely you have an exit strategy?
This is very much a James production. I don't know how involved in its design he was, because he's also trapped in a movie. But we have to complete a trial of some sort before we can leave.
Why didn't you save James first? Surely he would be able to ace those trials and wrap up all of this fairly quickly.
Yeah, but then the whole adventure would be over in like 5 minutes. Not much of a 100th episode spectacular.
There are so many rules to this thing, and saving him wasn't even an option presented to me when I was choosing who to help first.
Yeah, I guess if there is a plan to all of this, he is kind of the finale.
See, she gets it. And I know what you're thinking. This whole thing is scripted, so maybe in real life Maddie wouldn't get it. And it's only because she's been written to get it that she does get it. But trust me, she gets it. You've heard her episodes.
I don't want a finale. I just want it to be over.
No such luck, I'm guessing. So, how do we find this trial? Let's get it done. We've got this.
Honestly, the last two trials presented themselves. Indiana Jones had a stone pillar covered with movie trivia, and Romeo and Juliet delivered a scroll into my hands with the magical riddle.
In awe.
Ooh, I want a magical riddle.
As long as I don't have to find dinosaurs, I'm happy.
Not keen on running either. Thankfully, neither of us wore heels to this thing. High five. Although, movie logic suggests we could outrun a T-Rex in heels.
What?
Rewatch Jurassic World. You'll get it.
Maddie is bringing the references. The internet did not like that scene in Jurassic World at all. As the two women stand in in silence, thinking how the next trial may present itself, the machete in Tina's hand starts to glow. With the glow, the machete also begins to heat up enough that Tina notices the change in temperature.
I think we just got our answer.
She lifts the machete up, and she and Maddie watch the flat of the blade. As the glow fades, it leaves behind a message scrawled in ancient text, a la the Ring of Power in Lord of the Rings.
I don't want to nitpick, but there was no glowing blade in the Jurassic movies, and that font is definitely from Lord of the Rings.
All I know is that the wall between reality and fiction is blurring, so maybe some movies are bleeding into other movies?
Science checks out.
Finally! Hopefully, all future guests no longer question the science. Of course, it can be written that Finally, hopefully all future guests no longer question the science. Of course, it can be written that they all agree with the science. 3 questions are etched into the flat of the machete's blade. Tina should attempt each question first on her own, but can rely on Maddie for support. So here's your trial to get out of the movie. Question 1. Which Seinfeld actor appears in Jurassic Park and meets his demise at the hand of a dinosaur?
Oh, Newman.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Newman.
Which I can't remember the actor's name.
That's Wayne Knight, but I'll give it to you.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm like, Newman.
Question 2. B.D. Wong plays Dr. Henry Wu in Jurassic Park and the Jurassic World trilogy. In which Disney animated film did he play the heroic love interest, and what was his character's name?
Would it be Shang in Mulan?
It is 100% Shang.
Yeah.
Yes!
I was going to say, if you didn't get it, I was going to say, dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow.
On you, dishonor on your cow.
All right, and here's
You are one lucky bug.
the most tricky question, I would say. Which 5 animal noises, and now that I'm thinking about it, I think it might be more than 5, but I'll take 5. Which 5 animal noises were combined to make the T-Rex's growl in Jurassic Park?
Oh, this would be an absolute guess. Do you know?
I know 3.
What are your 3? And then I'll guess 2.
I thought it was a koala and a walrus and maybe a swan, but swan might be velociraptors. Ooh.
I don't have any of those 3 on the data that I looked up.
Oh, bugger. I thought koala, walrus, pig.
You're on the right
lion.
track. You're definitely heading in the right direction. Like, it's not animals you would expect.
Yeah.
Is pig not one of them?
Not for the T-Rex.
Oh, dang it.
But that being said, like,
And
it's
it's not
the
a walrus.
internet, and you've watched that movie more than me, so maybe you're right. But the internet is telling us no. I had to look up. I've got the answer.
Would it be something like a rhinoceros?
You're on the right track.
Elephant.
Elephant is one. It was a baby elephant.
Okay, elephant is one.
The T-Rex. Because
Yeah,
I'm
but-
getting confused with a few of the other ones. I
Yeah.
guess.
Is it a deeper sound?
It's a variety. There are some mammals. There's some reptiles.
No, but like when the last time I saw Jurassic Park was like at least 10 years ago. So
Are we talking about-
the T-Rex makes a deeper sound?
It is deep, but there's some screeching in it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like some
So some kind of bird,
yeah, there's a bird in there.
like a parrot.
Not
Or a falcon.
No, it's. I will say this: you're not going to expect it.
Kookaburra.
No.
Frickin' chicken.
You don't have to keep shouting out birds. You can like think about the animals. I mean, we can.
I just think of the low, like guttural purr thing that he does. I'm trying to think of those things, and all I can hear is like, a walrus or a. Dang it. Okay.
A lion.
You're very close.
Tiger.
Tiger is one.
Okay, cool. So yeah, elephant and tiger.
Yeah.
Um,
Screeching.
a cat.
No. So you've got one more mammal, one more bird, and one more reptile. I'll give you
Oh,
that.
reptile.
There is a reptile.
Oh, like a Komodo dragon.
Way too fancy.
Oh, okay. A dragon.
You're too fancy.
A real dragon.
A real dragon.
T-Rex.
Yeah, T-Rex is a T-Rex sound. A rattlesnake? No. What kind of reptile makes other
Other noises. Some sort of lizard.
Oh, like a frill-neck lizard?
No.
Don't they make a funny noise?
So you will find like some reptiles, large reptiles, do growl and they'll make like gurgling noises.
Oh, like a crocodile.
I'll give you crocodiles, alligator. and I'll give
Alligator.
you-
Yeah.
Alligator. Okay.
Okay, so that's the reptile.
So-
It said one more mammal.
One more mammal.
Dog.
It is a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the bird. We're back
So
to
the bird,
birds.
like a toucan.
I mean, it's not, but it's on the right path.
So some sort of like tropical bird.
Not tropical, more
Like a
the
puffin?
appearance. I would say not quite a puffin, but heading very close in the right direction now.
And you said
Color palette is spot on.
so not a parrot though.
Not a parrot. Toucan, puffin, right
and the
color palette.
call.
Heading in the wrong
For
direction.
fuck's sake.
What
I'm
color?
thinking of black and white birds, are we?
Black and white.
Okay. Well, black and white birds.
Said magpie.
It's like a very obvious black and white bird you're both missing.
Oh, penguin.
Penguin is correct.
Ah.
Oh, she said
Penguins make
puffin, so I was
noises?
like, that counts as a penguin? Yeah, okay.
Puffin is not a penguin. Puffins can fly, I think. Penguins certainly can't. There we go. You
There
guys
we go.
answered all the questions. This is
I'm so sorry. I was not very much help at all.
That's okay. I was stabbing in the dark. I was
Tina
literally
brought,
just guessing.
like, and not that I expected Tina to not get the questions, but I was like, I put some tricky one. The BD Wong one, I am kind of shocked. So that was, I would say, was my deep cut question there.
Nah, we both knew that.
Question 3, we were just like, hey, let's just play a guessing game.
Yeah.
That's okay, because we are almost doing the same. Regardless of the answers provided, the remote in Tina's pocket is now active.
Okay. Hold on to me. We're getting out of here.
Maddie grabs Tina's hand tightly, and Tina raises the remote control in dramatic fashion before clicking the home button. There is a bright flash, and Tina and Maddie disappear from Isla Nublar. In the distance, we can hear the roar of an unspecified dinosaur. Any dinosaur, it's fine. Interior Film Snob HQ. There's a flash of light and Maddie and Tina return to Film Snob HQ. The reality matrix gives a little hiss and the disc is launched from it back into the Blu-ray case. The Blu-ray case is returned to normal as well. Tina picks it up from the pile and returns it to the shelf.
Wow, that was something else.
Yeah, it certainly was.
Pauses.
Look, I got like 13 more people to save. Any chance you could stick around and help me? I don't want to do this alone.
I don't think this is my journey to take. I think this one's all on you.
Please, I already had Liz and David leave. Please don't leave me as well.
Look, I'm not sure what their reasons were, but there's something that I think you need to hear.
Let me guess, you can't stick around because it's not in the script.
I'm not sure about all that, but listen, you were chosen for this quest. No one else was, and it's because you're gutsy and determined. But beyond that, I think you need to have a new companion in each movie. Bringing me into another movie might leave me trapped in there because I would be unplanned cameo or something, or the rules aren't clear at all. But I don't think we should be messing around with something we don't understand.
Even though the science totally checks out.
Yes, even though the science 100% definitely checks out. Besides, if everyone's trapped in their favourite movie, then surely they're all well equipped to support you in each of the trials.
Well, that's a good point. It sure would be nice to bring a friend with me, though.
I know, but you've got this.
Oh, sorry.
And hey, maybe you get a whole team in episode 200.
Don't even joke. Episode 200, I'm sitting out.
Maddie laughs and walks towards the roller door.
I'll call my family to pick me up. Go and be a hero.
I have a sneaking suspicion that your car is already parked out there waiting for you. Don't question it, just accept.
Will do. I'll see ya.
The roller door screeches loudly as Maddie leaves Film Snob HQ. Tina looks back at the pile of Blu-rays with some new confidence.
Okay, it's hero time.
End of scene. Scene 4, Josh Rod. Interior, Film Snob HQ. Tina pulls the movie Josh Rod from the pile of Blu-rays. It makes me laugh. Before removing the disc from the case, she takes a look at the case and chuckles. The idea of Josh wearing a large, oversized fake mustache is very funny to her. She removes the disc from the case and enters it into the reality matrix. She pushes play on the remote. There is a bright flash of light and Tina disappears from the room. Exterior, forest. There is a bright flash and Tina appears in the middle of a forest. Nobody seems to be around. The air is filled with silence, with the exception of the occasional bird chirping or animal scurrying in a bush.
Josh?
She calls to no one. The forest remains mostly silent.
It's worth a try, I suppose.
Looks around.
Where am I? I don't remember any stunts in a forest.
Tina wanders around the forest, following the incline down. In her mind, it makes sense to head down the slope, as it will likely bring her back to town, where Josh presumably will be.
I wonder how far into the movie I am. If Josh is playing Rod, then he could be off filming stunts, or he might even be preparing for the big bus jump. Oh, God, I can't let him do the big bus jump.
Her pace downhill quickens. She has no way of knowing if injuries in a movie will follow people into reality, but she doesn't want to bring Josh out following the disastrous bus jump. As she continues hurrying down, she can hear a faint cry, accompanied by occasional thumps every few seconds. She stops to look for the source of the sound. As she turns to look up to where she came from, she can see a body bouncing comically down the hill. It's Josh. He bounces and tumbles and rolls until he skids to a stop at her feet. Despite the fall, he looks to be in an okay condition.
Josh? Are you okay?
I just went to my happy place.
Tina looks confused for a moment before it finally clicks.
Did you just do a bunch of interpretive dance to inspirational 80s synth pop?
Yes.
And do you know who I am?
Yeah, Tina, I know who you are. Why?
Every time I enter one of these movies, the rules change. Some people in trances, while others know who they already are.
Well, I've been here a while. Maybe I snapped out of it.
That's a good point. Were you in a trance when you began dancing?
No, what?
So you chose to do the interpretive dance?
Don't tell anyone.
Exterior town. Josh and Tina are walking through Rod Kimball's town. Every so often, a background character will recognise the stunt costume that Josh is wearing and greet him as Rod. Each time, Josh smiles and waves back.
So Hot Rod's your favourite movie?
Not really. I mean, I like it, but there's others I like better.
So why did you get trapped in this one?
I don't know. Maybe it was convenient to the plot.
What do you mean?
Well, think about it. Hot Rod is a pretty safe movie. There's not a lot of risk involved in the story, so both you and I aren't going to be harmed. Plus, it's a small movie, so there's no need for big special effects or lots of characters. It can just be the two of us talking until we get out. And you move on to the next movie.
You're talking about this like it's all plotted out.
Tina, none of this is real.
What do you mean? We're both here trapped inside a movie. We have to complete trials so I can get you home and continue my quest to save everyone from reality closing in upon itself.
Listen to what you just said. That's insanity. It's science fiction.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
You're still in a daze from the reality matrix.
What is this, a reality matrix?
It's the machine that James built in Film Snob HQ.
James made a machine? Your James? My James? The guy we've both known for over a decade?
Yes.
How did he make this machine?
He took a VCR, a DVD player, and a Blu-ray player and hardwired them together while running Back to the Future, The Matrix, and The Flash all at the same time.
What? That's dumb.
No, it's not. It sounds weird, but believe me, science checks out.
No, it doesn't. There's no science involved at all there. He just stuck a thing to another thing to another thing. That's not science. It's barely an art project.
Tina reaches into her pocket and pulls out her remote.
Explain this then.
Josh looks at the remote.
That's just two remotes taped together. Also, I'm pretty sure that machine is only called the Reality Matrix because he put a copy of the Matrix into the DVD player. That's not even clever.
A wave of realization rushes over Tina as she begins to realize that it's not actually on a quest. That she's not actually on a quest, but in fact part of a larger fictional story.
How did I buy into all of it?
It's a story. You suspended your disbelief.
This is getting to be a bit much. I think we all need to calm down a bit.
Also, these trials you've been completing, what do you get out of them?
I don't know. The remote glows and then I'm allowed to leave.
Does anything else happen when the remote glows?
I don't think so. Why?
It might just be the gamer in me, but if an object is glowing, then something important is happening. I guarantee you there's a bonus for you if you complete enough of these trials.
What do you mean? Like an upgrade?
Maybe. It's hard to tell without knowing the rules, but next time that remote glows, try pressing some buttons and see what happens.
Enough! The scene pauses. Tina and Josh are frozen in reality. Let's remember why we're here, everyone, and let's not start cheating. The screen flickers as if someone has pressed the tracking button on an old VCR remote. The world unfreezes.
Wait. What were you saying?
I was just saying... Wait, what was I saying? I guess it wasn't too important. You said we had trials to complete.
Tina stops a moment, trying to remember the conversation they were previously having, but it's already gone.
Yeah. 2 of the movies asked trivia questions and 1 had magical riddles.
Oh, let's hope there's no trivia in this one.
The 2 continue to walk through town until they get to the track where Rod is expected to jump the buses. Everything is still getting set up, but it's clear that the big event will be taking place soon.
God, I hope we don't have to jump those buses.
Nah, I don't think so.
At that moment, a crowd of children run past Tina and Josh, handing out flyers to passers-by to advertise the big stunt. One of the children stuffs a flyer into Tina's hands as they brush past.
What's that?
My guess is that we just received our trial.
Tina turns the flyer over and sees that its appearance is different to the other flyers around her littered across the ground.
Be like Hot Rod. Oh, that's a terrible opening line. Rod gets his super stunt powers from various members of the animal kingdom. Decide on which animal your stunt powers will come from. The power will give you what your perfect stunt will be.
And that's it?
Tina flips the flyer over, only to find no additional text.
It appears so.
That seems kind of easy.
Well, thanks to Captain Exposition over here, almost giving the game away, filling the scene with all sorts of questions and secrets, we had to keep the trial fairly simple. Both Tina and Josh must complete the trial. So what you need to do is be like Rod. You have to think what your kind of animal will be who's going to inspire your stunts, what power they will grant you, and what your perfect stunt will be. We actually just watched Hot Rod the other night.
Yeah,
so
we did.
This should make it... we're reading this, I'm like, I did not get the order of the movie right at all. Like, they did not go straight from the hill to the end of the movie. So you both have to think of what your stunt animal will be, your spirit animal for stunts,
Yep.
what they would grant you, and then what kind of stunt would you like to perform if you were in Hot Rod. That's all it is.
So my animal would be a lion,
Mm-hmm.
and the power it would grant me would be bravery,
Yes.
because lions are synonymous with bravery. What would my stunt be? Oh, I like heights. So I think my stunt, like, I don't want to do anything that's going to scare me, like
Yep.
water-based or anything
Even
like
with
that.
the bravery of a lion?
Even with the bravery of a lion.
Because that
So I
tends to be
think-
what happens in the movie where he gets the power
Yeah.
and it doesn't work.
Yeah. So I think my stunt would be something like something to do with heights. So like a tightrope walk,
Okay.
or like something where I have to like abseil down a building.
Mhm.
All that stuff is like my jam. Like I would, or like have to do one of those crazy like bridge walks.
Yeah.
But it's like super high up and like
Okay.
it's a rickety, windy bridge.
Okay.
I would do something like that.
So you would be like, bravery of the African lion.
yeah.
Like that would be your stunt power? Yeah.
And then, like, instead of like the dolphins in my eyes, like he gets, you know how like when he kisses the dolphin
yeah.
necklace and the dolphins go in his eyes, it would be like it would zoom into my heart and my heart would like roar.
Like the MGM logo?
yeah. That's what would happen.
Oh, I love that. All right, Josh, you have to decide what your spirit animal is going to be, the power it grants you, and what your stunt will be.
All right, my spirit animal will be a salmon. And because I could like do all cool flips downstream and is it downstream or upstream? Downstream.
That's a pretty impressive stunt because most people don't go upstream. I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, my stunt would be going upstream, doing cool flips and stuff
Awesome.
on some kind of board.
That's okay. Once the trial is complete, the remote begins to glow again.
The remote, it's glowing. Didn't you say something about the remote glowing?
Did I?
No, he didn't. He definitely didn't just follow the rules.
I think I've been in too many movies. Let's get out of here.
Josh grabs Tina's sleeve. Tina presses the home button on the remote. There is a flash of light and they disappear from the scene. Interior, Film Snob HQ. There's a flash of light and Tina and Josh appear in Film Snob HQ.
Well, that was weird.
You get used to it.
Tina removes the disc to Hot Rod from the reality matrix and returns it to its case. Josh's face on the cover has been replaced with Andy Samberg's once more. Tina returns the Blu-ray to the shelf and starts looking at the pile for the next movie.
So, who are we saving next?
Tina stops and turns to him.
Sorry, what?
You just got me out, so who's next?
I'm sorry. It's just that this is the third time I brought someone out of a movie, and you were the first person to offer to stay and help.
What? Well, what can I do to help?
Nothing. I'm still figuring it all out, but it seems that each person is individually linked to their movie. I can't bring people into the movies, but I can take them out.
Have you tried? Did it go horribly wrong?
No, I haven't tried it, but in a few instances where I've tried to do things my way, something has stopped me from doing it.
Something?
Yeah, like an external force or something sort of movie overload. Overlord, some sort of movie overlord.
Yeah, I don't hate that description.
The only constant is me. Everyone else is temporary.
That sucks. But Don't let it get you down. You've saved 3 of us already. That's pretty good.
No, I'm getting the hang of it.
Well, if you're sure, I guess I'll go.
Go for it. Your car's almost definitely outside. Don't ask me how.
Josh looks confused, but shrugs. He stops before he lifts the roller door.
Hey, I just remembered that glowing remote thing. It could be a power-up.
That's right. You did say that. How did I forget?
I don't know, but something weird is definitely going on. Stay safe. I'll see you soon.
Josh lifts the roller door and leaves. Tina returns to the pile of remaining movies. End of scene. Scene 5, Owenheimer. Interior, Film Snob HQ. Tina looks at the pile of Blu-rays remaining.
Almost halfway through.
She walks over and looks at them a little more closely. Most of the remaining faces are unrecognizable to her. She picks up Owenheimer, featuring show regular and listener favorite Nick Owen.
I haven't seen this one. Hopefully Nick knows what he's doing.
She takes the disc and tosses the case gently on the couch. She then inserts the movie into the reality matrix. As the drawer closes, she notices the disc does not match the cover, but it's already too late. The disc drawer is locked. I'm not sure if this was a rule set up earlier in Tina's adventure, but once the drawer closes, it is officially locked until she completes the rescue, which is why it was so important she saved David before Liz. There was precedent. So no one on the internet listening with their magnifying glasses can write into the show and talk about plot inconsistencies. And I know what you're thinking. How do they listen with magnifying glasses? A tool most commonly used to benefit sight. Well, Sherlock, I mean, they were holding a magnifying glass while listening to the podcast, because it turns out that the majority of listeners to the show actually moonlight as private detectives because they were so inspired by detective fiction as children. But I digress.
Damn it, I have no idea what that movie was. I sure hope Nick can help.
She lifts the remote and presses the enter button. There is a flash of light and she disappears from Film Snob HQ. Exterior, the ice planet, Interstellar. There is a flash of light and Tina appears on a cold, rocky surface. Unlike her previous missions, she has had a costume change. Tina is now wearing a sleek but functional spacesuit equipped with an oxygen tank.
Great. Where the hell am I?
As mentioned, she's in Interstellar. But Tina hasn't seen that movie, so she doesn't recognize it. She turns on the spot, taking in the enormity of the frozen rock, and sees nothing. Nothing at all. She takes a step in one direction and stops. She goes to move in another direction, but stops again.
This is so stupid. I've never seen whatever movie this is. It's just a void. How am I supposed to know where to go?
She closes her eyes and takes a few deep breaths. When she opens her eyes, she turns on the spot again and pays attention to the horizon. Once she turned almost 3/4 around, she noticed that the horizon briefly sinks.
Down. I have to head down.
Tina walks towards the dip in the horizon, bouncing lightly due to low gravity, which takes some getting used to. Soon she is bounding toward the dip, launching herself into the air before floating gently to the planet's surface. She then launches herself again and repeats the process until she reaches the dip. As she steadies herself at the edge, she notices that the drop is quite deep and substantial, but there are a number of grey metallic-looking tents below, with a single figure roaming out front.
Nick!
Her shouts fall on deaf ears. Tina starts to climb down into the chasm. Second movie to have a chasm for those playing at home. It takes her a few minutes, but between her unbridled enthusiasm and her desire for the adventure to be done, she is soon at the base camp.
Nick?
The figure does not respond. He has his back to her, so Tina has still not confirmed that it is actually Nick or not. She reaches out and taps him on the shoulder. If this was a horror movie, it would be such a terrible idea and almost certainly the killer. But this isn't a horror movie, and we're on a schedule, so of course when the figure turns around, it is Nick. His eyes widen with surprise.
Tina, what are you doing here?
Tina smiles with relief, not just because it is Nick, but because he recognizes her.
Where is here? I know it's a movie of sorts, but I don't know which one.
Oh, this is Interstellar. Do yourself a favor and check it out once you get out of here. I just hope I haven't changed the movie too much.
What do you mean?
Well, I fell asleep at my place, but when I woke up, I was in the movie, but at the very beginning of the movie.
Does the movie play in real time?
No, it runs the same length as if you were watching it at home.
Well, that's good at least.
This is the third time I'm living in Interstellar.
Oh. How long is the movie?
Almost 3 hours.
I haven't been running around for 9 hours.
I think time works differently inside the movie, which makes it complicated when this movie also deals with time working differently.
I think I have a headache. What do you mean by changed the movie?
Nick smiles and points to the tents.
So the first playthrough, I was just trying to survive. None of the characters interacted with me at all, unless I spoke to them. I thought maybe I just needed to survive until the end of the credits.
But then the movie started again.
It did. So I tried talking to some of the support characters to let them know how to communicate with Matthew McConaughey and why he stopped talking to them for so many years.
And
Morale picked up. So at the beginning of this third playthrough, I've tried to improve the lives of the characters. For example, we didn't waste time on the wave planet, so Murph won't age faster than her dad.
Spoiler alert for a 10-year-old movie.
And because no time was wasted, Matt Damon didn't get space madness, and now he's inside the tent helping Anne Hathaway prepare for the new world.
Wait, Anne Hathaway and Matt Damon are in that tent?
Yeah, but not really. I mean, it looks like them, but inside the movie they are the characters and have no memory or knowledge of life outside of Interstellar. I asked Anne Hathaway if Bruce planned on returning to Gotham, and she seemed very confused.
Maybe she was protecting his identity.
Maybe, but I think word started to get out about his identity once he was presumed dead.
Can I meet them?
Matt and Anne, we're on a first-name basis, by the way. Sure, you can pop your head in quickly. Just don't bring them out here. We're on a deadline.
Tina nods excitedly and walks over to the tent behind Nick. She opens the door ever so slightly and pokes her head in. Some muffled discussion can be heard briefly before she pulls her head and closes the door. She is beaming with excitement.
That was so cool. Even though it wasn't them, it kind of was.
Yeah, it's pretty strange. Can you imagine if they were allowed to leave the tent and have lines?
Tina and Nick break the fourth wall, looking directly down the barrel of the camera. Yes, it would be amazing if we could get Hollywood A-listers on the 100th episode spectacular, but let's all manage our expectations here. Maybe on episode 200.
So wait, what are you doing here?
Isn't it obvious? I'm here to save you from repeating Interstellar for a fourth time.
It's not so bad. I really like this movie.
See, I thought you really liked Oppenheimer.
I do really like Oppenheimer.
Then why was the case for Oppenheimer, but the disc is Interstellar?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know.
Look, the truth is there was no great pun for Interstellar that incorporated a part of Nick's name. But this show doesn't play by the rules, so just go with it.
I suppose I should leave. How do we get out of here?
Well, there's usually a trial of some sort. Once we complete that, the remote will return us home. Also, we need to pay attention to the remote as there may be upgrades to it.
I understood some of that.
You're in a Christopher Nolan film. You better have understood all of it. But usually there's a quiz or creative task or something.
Okay, so what's the quiz?
I don't really know. It often presents itself. Often as soon as I mention it, which is convenient.
Great. So any moment now.
Yep.
I'd have to be pretty cruel to drag this out and make them wait. I could make them sit through Interstellar another 5 times and they wouldn't be able to do anything about it. But we have to keep the audience in mind, and that sort of cruelty might not be very entertaining.
Does it usually take this long?
It varies.
Suddenly, the ground begins to shake. It's not enough to destabilize the tents or Nick and Tina, but a few containers fall to the ground. Even with the reduced gravity, the impact causes one of them to break on impact. Double use of impact. And a futuristic tablet slides out and turns on. Nick looks over to Tina with an eyebrow raised. Tina nods confidently. Nick picks up the tablet and walks over to Tina. The screen is lightly cracked and the battery seems to be running low, but 3 questions appear on the screen.
It's trivia. You better know your stuff.
It's just about Interstellar, isn't it?
Maybe. One of the earlier questions was about Steven Spielberg's wife.
If Tina and David answered that incorrectly earlier, then surprise. And if Tina and David haven't recorded that scene yet, then that's what we call a gimme.
I guess we should give it a go.
He taps his fingers on the tablet knowingly. He's spent enough time in the movie to become accustomed to their technology. 3 questions appear. So now Tina will have to answer these questions, but if Tina doesn't know the answer, then Nick can step in. So question 1. Which film school did Christopher Nolan attend?
How the fuck am I supposed to know that?
It might be. Well, we'll see if Nick knows the answer because it might be a trick question.
He didn't attend film school.
That's 100% correct. He didn't attend film school. Just like Quentin Tarantino. Question 2. Which superhero movie did Christopher Nolan produce immediately following The Dark Knight Rises?
Isn't it Superman?
Do you remember what that movie was called?
Superman.
It's not called Superman.
It's got like a
Man of Steel.
Yep, Man of Steel is
Yeah.
correct. There we go. And question 3. Which would take longer, to watch the movie Oppenheimer or to walk the entire length of the film stock used in the movie Oppenheimer?
Walk the entire length. Oh, I understand what you mean. How long is Oppenheimer?
3 hours. So you could watch Oppenheimer or you could roll the film stock out and walk the length of it. Which would take longer? Nick should know this answer. We talked about it.
Watching Oppenheimer.
That is
I think
incorrect.
it's
No. What did I... Wait, what? Hang on. Watching Oppenheimer takes 3 hours.
Yeah, so
Walking the length of the film stock. Walking the length of the film stock would take longer.
Nick, do you want to contribute to this answer? Do you remember this?
like I don't remember the exact specifics, but it's like I don't know if it's like talking about like the IMAX print version, but
Sure.
it's like obscenely long. Like I don't know the exact measurement, but it's like insane.
So the correct answer is you're on the right track. It would take the exact same amount of time. It takes 3 hours to walk the length of the film, so you could watch it or walk it.
So
Was that by design?
So 2 questions were not actually questions. They're trick
It's a
questions.
Christopher Nolan movie. You got to get ready for some tricks. Tina's so ready for this podcast to be over.
So I was waiting for a question like, what is Christopher Nolan's favorite sound? So I could be like, boom.
We could do what's his favorite comedy. We should all know that one. Do you know that one, Nick?
No, I don't think I do.
One of his favorite movies of all time is Talladega Nights.
Ah,
There's like a big
Yeah,
thing
well,
about it. Like I think he's getting interviewed by Colbert, and he was like, "If you're not first, you're last," and everyone was laughing because he clearly knows the movie. Alrighty, well, regardless of their answers, the remote starts glowing.
Quick, before we leave, let's take a closer look at the remote.
She pulls the remote out, and the two of them inspect it closely. Only the home button is glowing. Everything else looks normal. They try pressing other buttons on either side of the remotes, but nothing happens.
maybe it's not ready yet.
What do you mean?
Well, in some games you earn experience, but it takes a while for you to be able to spend that experience on an upgrade. Often you need the upgrade from a boss or something.
Good to know. Hold my arm, let's get out of here.
Nick holds Tina's wrist and she presses the home button. There's a flash of light and the two disappear. The door to the tent opens again, and both Matt Damon and Anne Hathaway exit, presumably to examine damage caused by the earthquake. Matt Damon opens his mouth to speak, and interior Film Snob HQ. There is a flash of light, and Tina and Nick appear in Film Snob HQ. For the sake of all scenes moving forward, all characters are now aware of the whereabouts of their cars.
Wow, that was something, huh?
Try doing it again and again and again.
Tina walks over to the reality matrix and removes the disc to Interstellar. She walks over to the pile of Blu-rays, notices that Owenheimer has become Interstellar, places the disc in the case, and returns it to the shelves.
Who's left now?
Next up is Gabby and Andre, and then a bunch of people I've never met. They're all American guests I've never met.
So this has become an international threat.
It's like a reality-defying threat. I don't even know if I'm doing it right.
Reality hasn't fallen apart yet, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, well, I guess I better keep moving.
Where's James in all of this? I thought he'd be the first one to save.
Apparently he's more of a third act rescue. If I save him first, there's no reason to keep the show going because he can just solve all the trivia trials.
Did he write all this? Because that seems a little self-indulgent.
All podcasts are self-indulgent.
Except for Pass the Remote.
Well, there's always an exception to the rule.
Well, thanks for saving me. When this is all done, you should check out Interstellar.
When this is all done, I'm taking a break from movies.
Yeah, good call.
Nick waves goodbye, opens the roller door, and leaves Film Snob HQ. Tina looks at the dwindling pile of Blu-rays, cracks her knuckles, and reaches for the next one. End of scene. Scene 6. Pretty Woman's. Interior, the name makes me laugh already. Interior Film Snob HQ. Tina picks up the poorly titled Pretty Woman's. It's the last movie with people she knows in it. She walks over to the reality matrix and slides the disc inside. She tosses the case onto the couch, pulls out the remote, and clicks the enter button. There is a flash of light and she disappears. The camera holds in the room for a moment. The room shakes with a minor tremor. In the back of Film Snob HQ, the movie projector twitches to the rhythm of the tremor, and a cracking noise can be heard as the lens splits into pieces but does not break. Oh, that's something for later. Exterior, Los Angeles streets. There is a flash of light, and Tina appears on the bustling streets of Los Angeles. Nobody seems to notice as they are all too self-involved and preoccupied with being famous. Tina looks both ways up and down the street.
I have no idea where they would be. Where do I even start?
A group of sleazy young men walk by Tina. She sighs and approaches them.
Excuse me, this might be a weird question, but do you know where I could find a hooker?
The men stop and stare at her for a moment, a little puzzled by the question, or at least puzzled by her asking for a hooker. Thankfully, Tina has crossed paths with the safest, non-aggressive, non-confrontational men in Los Angeles. The leader of the group gives a friendly smile and points across the street where a group of women dressed in spandex have gathered. Tina looks back towards the men to thank them, but they've already disappeared into the crowded street.
Well, that was easy.
She crosses the road, watching for cars as she does. When she gets to the other side, she approaches the group of scantily clad women looking for Gabby and Andre. However, there is no sign of them. Tina continues wandering the street, ducking and weaving through the crowd, occasionally asking a friendly-looking stranger.
Excuse me, have you seen a woman with dark hair? She's kind of short.
But there is no luck.
Oh, excuse me, have you seen a guy with a lip ring and an Australian accent? Oh, thanks. Anyway.
Tina walks to the curb and stops. This is easily the most crowded movie she's been in so far. And even though she's been to LA before, it was for less than a week and in the future. At least, it was the future to Pretty Woman. She sighs, feeling a little overwhelmed. In the distance, an engine can be heard growling as it speeds through the LA streets. Suddenly, a silver-grey 1990 Lotus Esprit rounds the corner and tears along the road until it screeches to a halt in front of Tina. Tina jumps back in surprise, having narrowly avoided being hit by a car. She smacks the roof of the car.
Who the hell do you think you are?
The window rolls down to reveal the driver, wearing dark sunglasses at night, chewing on a lit cigar. It's Gabby.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
Tina's face, a mix of relief and frustration. She's glad that her search is half over, but she isn't thrilled by the stunt.
You almost ran me over.
Starts to walk around the car to the passenger side door.
And that quote isn't even from Pretty Woman.
Interior Lotus Esprit. Gabby extinguishes the cigar as Tina enters the passenger side door and tosses the butt out the window.
I know, but tell me you've never wanted to drop that line in a car as cool as this.
I've dropped that line in significantly less cooler cars.
Yeah, same. And don't worry, you wouldn't have been hurt. Andre and I have been stuck here for a while, and it turns out real people can't get hurt or die while trapped in a movie.
How do you know that?
Because the first time in the movie, I crashed this car, launched both of us across Los Angeles skyline.
Are you sure you should be driving then? Even if we don't die, it would not be good to crash.
I've been here a while, enough to learn how to drive this car and 6 others like it in the movie.
How many times have you lived in the movie?
I've lost count.
She sees the look of concern on Tina's face and quickly peps up.
Oh, but don't worry, we've been having a great time. And time seems to work differently here. We haven't aged at all. We keep stealing Richard Gere's credit cards and living large. It doesn't matter because none of it's real. But this movie food is delicious.
Tina looks confused and Gabby notices.
I don't understand it. I can't explain it, but we're fine. We're safe. But I assume you're here to get us out of the movie.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. Wait, where's Andre?
Interior, hotel suite bathroom. The hotel suite bathroom is lush. All the fixtures and fittings are gold-plated and the floors are tiled with marble. In the middle of the room is a large claw-footed bathtub filled 3/4 full, overflowing with soapy bubbles. On the stand next to the bathtub is a Sony Walkman with a set of headphones plugged in. If we follow the cord of the headphones, it leads to the head of Andre, who is lying back in the tub, almost entirely engulfed in bubbles, softly rocking his head to the tunes in his ears, with a big smile on his face. Interior Lotus Esprit.
Don't worry about Andre. He's probably on his 4th bubble bath for the day.
So you're Richard Gere in this movie, and Andre is Julia Roberts?
Gabby looks over to Tina and smiles.
Are you really that surprised?
The two girls laugh as the Lotus tears off into the night. Interior hotel suite. Tina and Gabby stroll into the suite. Gabby is hoarding a variety of bags from fashionable designer stores. A bellhop follows them in, pushing a trolley loaded with even more bags from Gabby's shopping spree. Tina looks at the bags and laughs.
Look, I know I can't take them with me, but if I'm going to live in an actual fantasy world temporarily, then I might as well lean into it. It's kind of like a holiday.
I guess it depends on the movie. Most of James's friends seem to prefer movies that are filled with dangers at every turn.
This is why I keep it simple. Be glad we didn't get sucked into Gladiator or The Last Samurai.
Tina's eyes widen as she realizes the bullet she's dodged with Gabby. The bellhop leaves the room, utterly confused by the conversation he has heard. At the same time, another door within the suite opens and Andre emerges from his fourth bubble bath of the day, wearing a lush robe, fuzzy slippers, and a towel wrapped atop his head, like all the fancy women in the movies do. He no longer has his headphones on. When he sees Tina, he goes a little pink in the face, likely due to his attire.
Gabby, you didn't tell me we were expecting company.
We weren't expecting her. She just showed up to save us. And we're very grateful.
Sorry, I don't normally dress like this for visitors.
It's fine. You know, James almost wears the exact same outfit to work every day. He's a real robe and slippers guy.
Andre makes his way across the suite to sit down on one of the couches, pulling his robe down to ensure it sits below the knee. Gabby sits down next to him, but Tina remains standing.
So, how do we get out of here, and should I get changed?
You can change if it would make you feel more comfortable, but once we get back to reality, you'll be wearing the clothes you had on before you got zapped.
Gabby and Andre both stare at Tina in surprise. At the same time, completely candidly, it's the most natural reaction that anyone could have in a situation like this, a perfectly synchronized double stare. Unfazed by the synchronized double stare,
I think I've done this a few times now.
Okay, so if I'm not getting changed, then what are we waiting for? You got in here, how do we get out? I'm kind of sick of dying.
How many times have you died?
I've lost count.
Why do you keep doing it?
Because in the real world, it only happens once, so I thought I'd try it out in cool ways, like jumping off the Hollywood sign or trying to steal a helicopter.
I Was a Teenage Film Snob does not endorse trying to kill yourself multiple times while stuck in a movie. No matter how cool it might look, nothing's cooler than a zest for life.
And?
I just wake up in the beginning of the movie, so I haven't really learned anything from it.
So,
rolls her eyes.
So, getting out of here, how do we do it?
It's different every time. Sometimes it's movie trivia, sometimes it's creative task. It just depends. But it usually presents itself right around now.
There is a knock at the door.
Oh, okay, that was kind of spooky.
It's honestly becoming annoyingly predictable.
Gabby gets off the sofa and walks over to the door. She opens it and a muffled voice can be heard outside. Not loud enough to require casting or for a podcast guest to do a second voice.
Andre, did you order room service?
Not since you got back.
To the voice outside.
Sure, bring it in.
The bellhop from before pushes the trolley into the suite and stops it just short of Tina. Tina sends him an unimpressed look as it appears he tried to get the trolley as close to her foot as possible without running it over. The bellhop smiles, bows, and leaves. On top of the trolley is a silver platter with a silver cloche on top. Tina lifts the cloche and after a small puff of smoke subsides, reveals a short printed menu. Tina picks it up and reads over the menu.
This is it. It's movie trivia again. Hope you guys are ready for this one.
The trivia is intended for Tina, as always, but she can refer to Gabby and Andre for help. So you need to answer the questions to get out of the movie. So Tina will take the lead, but you can both support her. Question 1. Who sings the title track for the theme song Pretty Woman?
I have no idea.
Oh my god, I don't know his name. I won't know his name until his name is told. Is it the same guy who sings the song that's like, what's the one where it's like all the women in the music video clip?
No, it's not that one.
It's not that one. My mum would be so disappointed in me right now.
He wears black sunglasses a lot. He wears
Roy Orbison.
Roy Orbison.
Yes, Roy Orbison.
Yes, I had it in my head.
I like how seriously. Look, Gab's like, yes,
Yeah.
we're doing it. We're out. Question 2. Which Seinfeld actor made an appearance in the movie Pretty Woman?
Okay, I've seen Pretty Woman. And it was
George Costanza.
Yeah, really?
Yes.
Jason Alexander's in it.
Yeah, he plays a real creep in it.
Oh, does he? The last time I saw Pretty Woman was like 20 years ago.
I feel like if you watched it today, you would enjoy the film, but you might not be able to watch Seinfeld anymore. He's pretty creepy in it.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's not a nice fellow at all.
Yeah.
And question number 3. Question number hashtag. Richard Gere appears in which 2002 horror movie?
Ooh.
I did a horror question because I know Andre likes horror.
Yeah.
2002 horror movie.
2002.
Would I know it?
You would, because the title would give you the ick. You'd be like, oh. There was
The Mirror?
No.
2002.
Yeah.
Is it a thriller?
It can be considered a thriller as well.
Okay.
What's is it supernatural or is it?
It's inspired by an urban legend. So, like So if you think of like the Jersey Devil, if you think of like Bigfoot.
It's not Wolf Creek.
Not Wolf Creek, that's Australian.
That's Australian, yeah.
And the creature in the movie is named after an insect you don't like.
The cockroach?
No, not a cockroach.
Insects
An insect you don't like. So a spider?
No. It's a flying creature, a flying bug.
Mosquito?
B movie?
Not a mosquito.
What's not a flying bug?
Flying.
Moth.
Yeah, Moth is correct.
Yeah.
There's a movie and Moth is in the title and it stars Richard Gere.
The Moth.
It's not called
The Mothman?
Oh, you're very close.
Oh, the Moth Gentleman.
Okay, well that's the best answer of the night.
Moth Liege?
No, I've got no idea.
Yeah. No idea.
It is the Mothman Prophecies.
Oh, I've never heard of that in my life.
It was such a big movie. It was huge.
Just missing prophecies.
It was so big. It was like a huge horror film in 2002.
What are you talking about?
It was massive. Everyone was like, Richard Gere did a horror film. It was huge. I wasn't even like that into movies in 2002. That's a lie. I was into movies in 2002.
I've never heard that in my life. You've made that up right now.
There were ads for it on TV all the time. Back when movies were advertised on television still, I was like, this summer, the Mothman Prophecies. And it was Richard Gere. And the trailer had him driving a car and looked through a forest, and there was like a shadow that would appear, and it was the Mothman.
I've never heard of this in my life.
Well,
add it to the list.
Add it to the list. I've never actually seen the movie, but it doesn't matter. I just had to get like a Richard Gere reference in there. And I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah. You asked the Julia Roberts question. I could answer that.
I almost did. But I want to go, this is a movie podcast. We go deep cuts. All right. Regardless of how many questions are answered correctly, the remote begins to glow again.
Okay, we're good. Before we leave, I just need to check something.
She inspects the remote just like before. The only glowing light is the home button.
Hold on to me, gang. We're getting out of here.
Gabby and Andre both hold Tina by the arm, and Tina presses the home button. There is a flash of light, and the three of them disappear from the suite. Interior Film Snob HQ. There is a flash of light, and Tina, Gabby, and Andre return to Film Snob HQ. Tina removes the disc for Pretty Woman from the reality matrix and returns it to its freshly restored case. She returns to the shelves with its companions. In the meantime, Andre has walked over to the shelves and starts browsing all the movies in James' collection.
Andre, what are you doing?
I've never spent much time in here. I just want to see what he's got.
Do you really think that's appropriate right now?
I don't think it's not appropriate.
Gabby gives Andre a wide-eyed look. Andre returns it mockingly.
It's fine. He can look. I have decided.
No, you're right. You have to decide.
I have to decide which of these American strangers I'm going to say first.
Michael seems really nice. I like these episodes of the podcast.
It's not even a matter of nice. I don't know any of them. A lot of them like horror movies, which I'm not thrilled about exploring.
Andre turns his head as he returns a Blu-ray to the shelf.
I like horror. Do you want me to come along?
That's true. He doesn't get scared of much.
He's not allowed. The rules don't let me bring people in.
Well, is there anything we can do to help from here?
Not really, but it's okay. Go home and rest. I'll see you guys soon.
Okay, well, let us know if you need anything.
I will.
Gabby and Andre leave Film Snob HQ via the screeching roller door, and Tina stands alone once more. As she looks at the significantly shorter pile of Blu-rays, she suddenly feels a buzzing in her pocket. She reaches in and pulls out the remote. For the first time since the adventure began, the remote is glowing in an area other than the home button or the enter button. Tina lifts it close to her face. The fast-forward button is now glowing.
Upgrade.
She presses the button. For a moment, nothing happens, but then the remaining movies that were piled up start to rise into the air as if being lifted by an invisible spirit. The cases all open at the same time, and the discs float out and assemble themselves in a pile. The cases pile themselves back on the bench and close themselves, while the pile of discs, over across the room into the reality matrix all at once. It shouldn't be possible, but the reality matrix accepts the pile of discs at the same time. There's a flash of light and Tina disappears from the room. The lights in Film Snob HQ flicker before dimming completely. The projector starts running. The cracked lens cracks further, projecting 5 different images on the wall. The menu screens for each of James's top 5 favorite movies appear. Before she can solve that problem, Tina must now face the international guest montage. End of scene. Scene 7, young Frankenstein. Exterior, Castle Frankenstein. It should be noted that now that Tina has unlocked the fast forward button, she does not need to interact with other characters directly. The entire scene is black and white, unlike our previous scenes. A horse-drawn carriage approaches the castle and the music accompanying sounds eerily like the Jurassic Park theme song. In the distance, beyond the forest, there is a brief flash of light. The horse-drawn carriage comes to a stop at the castle entrance and a side door swings open. Bucky and Diamond from the Midnight Terrors podcast exit the carriage one after the other. Bucky has a huge grin on his face, while Diamond looks less than impressed.
What's wrong, buddy?
There's a lot of great horror movies out there. A lot of great movies that you and I have a mutual love for. So why the hell did we get stuck in this one? We didn't even get to ride in the carriage with the hot chicks.
Yeah, but did you notice the music that was playing as we pulled up?
Oh, of course. It was Jurassic Park. Nice touch.
We can still have fun here. We have a whole castle to explore, and each of these bedrooms have huge beds in them. It'll be like a vacation.
Dude, my idea of a vacation is hanging out with the Firefly family on a road trip and hanging out with Sherry Moon and eating some Tutti fucking Fruity.
It could be worse. We could have been thrown into a movie that you hate, like Halloween Ends.
I mean, maybe, but at least in Haddonfield, I'd be with Jamie Lee Curtis and her hot granddaughter.
Cheer up, Jason. Let's go hang out with some monsters in a creepy castle.
You know what, Bucky? Damn your taste in movies.
Too late.
Diamond huffs and rolls his eyes. If audiences don't understand this reference, they should go back and watch the classic Mel Brooks comedy Young Frankenstein. Or better yet, listen to episode 52 of the Midnight Terrors podcast where the boys discuss the movie with a familiar and charming guest. Bucky approaches the large wooden door. It is solid timber and bears 2 large steel rings for knocking.
Capital knockers.
Now you're getting into the spirit of it. This is going to be too much fun, dude.
Bucky swings the large ring, knocking loudly on the door. The knock seems to echo through the cavernous castle. Minutes pass, but the doors remain closed.
Bucky, did you get us trapped in a movie without a key to the front door?
I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation for this. If we put our heads together, I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Diamond groans loudly and returns to the carriage, leaning against it.
All right.
You know, I don't want to lay blame on anybody, but this probably isn't my fault.
I know you're not fucking suggesting that it's mine.
No, not at all. It's probably James's, bro.
That crafty little Australian from down under.
Hey, think about it. He turned you against me in the Young Frankenstein episode.
He didn't.
He totally lost our Devil's Rejects episode.
Again, not his fault.
I bet you that when he trapped us in this movie, he deliberately chose something that would annoy you and then hid the key from me.
Definitely sounds like something he would do.
All right, right here, right now. Let's make a pact then. We'll never let James get between our friendship again.
Okay, so what do we do now?
Let's take the carriage back into town and hit up the local tavern.
All right, it's not a bad idea. You can serenade the locals on the lute, and I'll check out the local winches.
What the fuck is a lute?
It's like a fucking early guitar.
All right. Who do we tell them we are while I Google what a lute is?
Well, it's the Midnight Terrors podcast.
The 2 men return to the carriage. The horse pulling it turns around and leads them out of the castle gates. Moments later, a hooded figure leaps from the trees onto the back of the carriage. It is Tina, armed with her magic remote. She enters the carriage, and there is a sudden flash of light indicating that the 3 of them have been removed from the scene. End of scene. Scene 8, The Prestige, with a Z. Before reading this, I should point out that Jake and Dustin from the Movie Bonerz Podcast went above and beyond with their recording. They sent me the individual recordings of their dialogue, but then also put it all together, gave it a backing track and some ambience and sound effects. So that's what we're going to listen to. It is going to be a little bit out of place with everything else, but they put so much work in it. It sounds so good. We're going to be in for a bit of a treat for this scene. So again, Scene 8, The Prestige with the Z. Exterior, London streets, 1890s. The scene opens on 1890s London. The actual year is not too specific. The streets are bustling with people from a variety of classes. There are market vendors yelling out, selling their wares. Gaggles of children scamper and weave amongst the people. The outer walls of buildings are covered in posters for a variety of travelling shows, oddities, and competing magicians Alfred Borden and Robert Angier. However, the camera does not follow either of these characters, but instead lands upon two very fish-out-of-water characters dressed in fancy 1890s attire, complete with top hats, Jake and Dustin from the Movie Bonerz Podcast. Unlike many of the previous guests trapped in movies, Jake and Dustin do not appear to be in a daze, lost in character. In fact, they seem to be very aware they are in a movie, and it almost appears that this might not be the first time that this has happened.
So I guess we're stuck in the Prestige.
Yeah, we are. Looks like the Pantages Theater across the street. Are you upset about something?
No, it's all cool, dude. I mean, the Prestige is good. You know, there's two of us, so I guess if we're gonna get stuck in a movie, we only get stuck in a movie.
And you'd rather be trapped in...
Well, dude, come on. Like, obviously it'd be The Matrix.
The Matrix? So just to be clear, you would rather be trapped in a dystopian future enslaved by machine overlords than watch the greatest magic battle of all time. Suck it, Harry Potter fans.
All right. You know what? Would I prefer it? I guess that's an interesting question. It'd be really cool to see Neo, and see them.
Yeah.
And I think we'd do all right for ourselves in that movie.
Do you think we'd do all right in The Matrix?
Well, yeah, dude. I know the whole movie inside and out. We could bend the rules ourselves.
How do you know you'd be the one, or I'd be the one, or we would be the one together?
Nah, you wouldn't be the one, dude.
Fuck you.
But, dude, I'm telling you, I know that movie inside. You know the movie inside and out as well. The fact that we know it that well, we would do all right.
Yeah, that's kind of true, I guess. If you were dropped in the Matrix, do you think that you would have access to all the knowledge that you have now from all the other movies and stuff?
Come on, man. No one else paid attention to the other movies or the games, so we don't need any of that. The first one is the one that matters. That's where all the, answers to everything is.
I'm not so sure. I think we're safer here in the Prestige. It's much nicer. It's oldie times.
No, you've got, disease. Everyone's poor and barely scraping by. I mean, plus, you've got Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman, and they're both, manipulating. They're not to be messed with. They're kind of untrustworthy characters.
That's true. At least we'd be fighting Christian Bale in the Prestige, not Christian Bale as Batman. That's a perk.
I don't know if that's so much as a positive, though. I mean, at least as Batman's got rules, man. Yeah, he'll fuck you up, but you're gonna live, and we haven't done anything bad, so we don't gotta worry about that. So
that's true.
And Bale in the Prestige, dude, he's ruthless. Come on. And there's two of him. Oh, spoiler for a 20-year-old movie.
Yeah, I guess we have that going for us. We know that in advance. But you're right. Maybe I would prefer to fight Christian Bale as Batman. We could take him, I think. What about Hugh Jackman, though? Would you fight him in the Prestige or as Wolverine?
I'm pretty sure I'd just curl up and cry.
You cry?
Come on, man. You curl into a ball and you just hope to be spared. I wouldn't want to fight Hugh Jackman in any capacity, any of his roles. Not even The Greatest Showman. All right?
Yeah, we already know The Greatest Showman makes you cry every time.
Hey, you know what? Fuck you, dick.
Do you cry because he's jacked, or do you cry because he gets you in the feels?
No, let's face it, Jake. If either of us are going to cry because he's jacked, it's you. I cry because he hits me in the fields.
Okay. So you don't think you could fight The Greatest Showman?
I could try, but he's got a lot of friends in that movie, and the real P.T. Barnum was kind of a shifty fucker, so yeah. I probably wouldn't win.
Okay, that's fair. I wonder if we should be doing something to get out of this movie instead of just, chit-chatting like usual.
I mean, I guess we could. Or should, I should say. Although, I think we're doing all right now. I mean, you know what? Actually,
Yeah.
When are we needing to record next?
If this is the 1890s in like 130 years, then I guess.
So we got time. We can chill, dude. Come on.
We should probably find Angier and follow him to Colorado if we're going to make it to recording in the future.
Figured it out.
What? Figure what out?
It's got to be. This is the answer. All right.
Okay.
Bear with me. We're stuck in both the Prestige and the Matrix. Yes!
How so? How is that possible?
All right. So it's kind of your fault, but computers, the system, it's created the program of the Prestige, to placate you, make you feel comfortable. Yeah, but it's all part of the Matrix, so all simulation.
So a Prestige simulation inside the Matrix simulation. That sounds really complicated.
No, dude, you know what? Come on, man. We're in your favorite movie. At least let me have this one.
Okay, fine. Hey, do you think we could get a beer or something around here somewhere?
I mean, you can. It is your favorite movie. Where did they drink in this movie?
That's a great question. There's that place where they meet Hugh Jackman's drunk body double.
All right. We probably shouldn't go where there's two Hugh Jackmans, all right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, you know what I was thinking?
Oh, no. That we should do an episode of the podcast all about movies that we'd like to be trapped in or think we could fare well being trapped in?
Well, yes, that. And we should probably never agree to appear in another project for I Was a Teenage Film Snob.
Yeah. His stuff is kind of long. Considering all he did for us was like a little 2-minute Batman video.
Yeah, he did that one take.
In one take.
Also, everyone outside the simulation should definitely follow us at Movie Bonerz on Instagram and listen to our show wherever they listen to their podcasts.
True, and I'm glad that you're siding with me on the simulation.
I never said that.
Yeah, they definitely should.
You know what? I have a feeling we're going to be out of here in no time.
Tina appears behind both the boys and links her arms around theirs. She clicks the home button on her remote control. There is a bright flash of light and all three of them disappear from the movie. End of scene. Scene 9, Mike Tannick. Exterior, RMS Titanic deck, open water. The lunch table, which should be attended by a large group of aristocrat types, is entirely vacant except for one figure with his back to the camera. We can see a flash of light through one of the windows, however the figure does not seem to notice.
She is the largest moving object ever made by the hand of man in all history.
The voice gives it away. Figure turns out to be podcast regular Michael, host of the We Love Horror podcast.
And our master shipbuilder, Mr. Andrews here, designed her from the keel plates up.
He gestures to an empty chair, pauses a beat, and then stands up out of his chair and then sits in the empty chair he just gestured to.
Okay, 1 second. Let me get up here. Well, I may have knocked her together, but the idea was Mr. Ismay's. He envisioned a steamer so grand in scale and so luxurious in its appointments that its supremacy would never be challenged. And here she is, wheeled into solid reality.
Michael stands and runs around the table to sit at another vacant chair. During all this running around, a series of wait staff are bringing food and cocktails to the table, seemingly unaware that Michael has inhabited all of the characters in the scene.
Sorry. Oh. Sorry, excuse me, sorry. I'm just trying to get to this chair over here. Thank you. Why are ships always being called she? Is it because men think half the women around have big sterns and should be weighed in tonnage? Just another example of men setting the rules their way.
Michael moves to another chair to receive a cigarette from a waiter. He lights up and takes a puff and puts the cigarette back down before moving to yet another chair.
Okay, 1 second. Sorry again. Don't mean to be getting in everybody's way. Sorry. Oh, thank you very much. Yes, please light that for me. Thank you. You know I don't like that, Rose.
Michael stands and looks down at the empty chairs.
She knows.
He picks up the cigarette and stubs it out. He then turns to the waiter.
We'll both have the lamb, rare with a little mint sauce. You like lamb, don't you, Sweet Pea?
Michael returns to one of the previous chairs.
So you're gonna cut her meat for her too there, Cal? Hey, who came up with the name Titanic? Was it you, Bruce?
He moved to the very first chair he sat in at the beginning of the scene.
Yes, actually. I wanted to convey sheer size, and size means stability, luxury, and above all, safety.
He gets up and runs back to the seat where he had lit the cigarette moments earlier.
Have you heard of Dr. Freud? His ideas about the male preoccupation with size might be of particular interest to you.
He moves to another chair.
My God, Rose, what's gotten into...
Back to the previous chair.
Excuse me.
He gets up and walks away out of the scene. He then runs back to occupy another chair.
I do apologize.
To another chair.
She's a pistol cow. Hope you can handle her.
And finally, standing up overlooking the table.
Well, I may have to start minding what she reads from now on, now won't I, Mrs. Brown?
Michael catches his breath at the end of the performance and then bows to the ocean. A slow clap can be heard off screen. Something not from the Titanic script. Michael's eyes widen and he turns to see Tina, who apparently was watching the entire performance. Michael smiles and bows again.
Oh, hi. Oh, hey there, Tina. Didn't know anyone was standing there. Sorry.
Tina smiles and pulls the modified remote control out of her pocket. She gestures it towards Michael.
Come on, it's time to leave already. But I'm having a blast.
Tina mimes the imagery of the ship sinking.
I know, but I love this movie and I get to play all the parts I want and I almost survived last time.
Tina shoots him a puzzled look.
I know. Why would I keep reliving the same movie if I keep dying? And how haven't I learned to survive it? I just get distracted by the beauty of it all. And I've spent a little too much time in the car, if you know what I mean.
Tina folds her arms, a frustrated look on her face. This is Michael's first time crossing paths with her, but Tina is very near the end of her journey and is sick of getting stuck in movies. Michael takes a beat and then nods.
Okay, fine, let's go.
Tina takes a step towards Michael.
Oh, wait. I just need to do one thing.
Michael runs out to the deck to the edge of the ship, arms stretched out wide with his head thrown back and the sea tussling his hair.
I'm the king of the world! Woo!
He enjoys the moment for a beat and then returns and walks slowly back to Tina.
Okay, we can go now.
He holds his hand out and grabs Tina's sleeve. Tina presses the return button on the remote. There is a flash of bright light and the two disappear from the scene. End of scene. Scene 10. Scream, Tyler, Scream. Interior, the Loomis house, Woodsboro. A group of teens are gathered around a television in the lounge room, laughing and screaming at the horrifying imagery. There is a brief flash of light that blinks through a window, but nobody seems to notice. Everyone is either too drunk, too high, or too caught up in the movie playing to witness the unusual occurrence outside. As the crowd gets rowdier, a lone voice rises above them. Tyler stands up and begins to roam the lounge between the sofas with maybe a little more energy than Randy would have from Scream. Shh. The group of partygoers groan. They know one of Tyler's infamous movie rants is about to begin. In the original Scream, Randy would be interacting with multiple partygoers, but as this is a radio play and Tyler's knowledge exceeds that of Randy, the party guests would just slow him down. So instead, the conversation becomes a monologue. Doing this requires him to paraphrase the dialogue, which would usually drive him insane. But at this point in the radio play, Tyler has lived so many viewings of Scream that he has come to terms with making it his own.
I know, you want to see Jamie Lee's breasts, but that's not until Trading Places in '83. Jamie Lee was always the virgin in horror movies. Okay, she didn't show her tits until she went legit. I know what you're thinking, no way, but that's why she always lived, because only virgins can outsmart the killer in the big chase scene in the end. Don't you know the rules?
Stu Mucker finishes his beer, but Tyler raises his hand before Stu can speak.
What rules? I bet you're asking.
Tyler hits the pause button on the remote and stands in front of the television explaining.
Well, there are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. For instance, 1, you can never have sex. I mean, the minute you get some, you're as good as gone. Sex always equals death. 2, you can never drink or do drugs. It's the sin factor. It's an extension of rule number 1. And 3, never, ever, 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 under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. And before you ask, yes, I would love another beer. Thank you.
Stu shrugs and walks out the room. It's hard to hear, but he does mumble the words, I'll be right back, as he leaves.
Ooh, I know, right? But here's the thing. Stu Mucker is definitely the killer, so I suggest you all leave right now.
The partygoers all laugh, thinking Tyler is joking.
No, I'm serious. Get out now.
Tyler reaches into his back pocket and pulls out a ghost face mask and a bloody knife. Everyone immediately starts screaming and runs out of the room. As they leave, Tina walks in. Tyler and Tina have never met before, but as he grips the large bloody knife and she grips the modified remote control, they recognize each other's purpose.
Ah, I know you're here to save me, to take me out of this movie and return me to my life out there, but I'm good.
Tina raises an eyebrow, gesturing to the carnage around them.
I'm not saying never, but this is where I belong right now. I mean, every time the movie plays, I save a few more people. I get to interact with some of my favorite characters in movie history, and sometimes I get to be Ghostface, and that's kind of a blast too. So thank you, but no, thank you.
Tina looks down at the modified remote and clicks one of the many glowing buttons. The scenery around them glitches and fizzes for a moment, like the tracking on a VHS. When the effect ends, Tina is holding two modified remotes, both identical. She nods in acknowledgement and tosses the spare to Tyler. Tyler nods and pockets the new remote.
A way out. Thanks.
Tina smiles and raises her own remote, clicking the return button. There's a flash of light and Tina disappears. As if on cue, Stu re-enters the room. He gestures to where the flash of light was, and before his eyes can meet Tyler's, the large bloody knife flies through the air and pierces him in the chest. Tyler smiles.
One down, one to go.
End of scene. Final scene. Interior Film Snob HQ. There's a flash of light and Tina emerges from the North American guest montage, sans guests. The reality matrix has safely transported all of them back to their homes in North America. Film Snob HQ looks different to the previous times Tina has exited the reality matrix. The room is dark, the projector is on. Its lens is cracked in 4 places, creating 5 distinctly different scenes on the wall, each playing one of James's 5 favorite movies. Clerks, Back to the Future, Kill Bill, Hot Fuzz, and Midsommar. Tina stares at the screen for a moment.
This seems ominous.
She removes the Blu-rays from the reality matrix, returning each movie to its case, and places the cases back on the shelf, confirming that all guests who were trapped in movies have now been returned home, and the bulk of the quest is complete. She places the remote back into her pocket for safekeeping and approaches the projector, looking at the 5 movies playing on the wall.
What do I do here? Do I have to enter them one by one or all at once?
As if prompted, a small grey window appears in the center of the screen, overlapping each of the movies. The window reads, "Press enter to continue."
Continue where, though? I'd like to have some sort of game plan.
A third act twist doesn't really allow for a game plan, so Tina will be entering the finale blind. Tina sighs and pulls the remote out of her pocket. She points at the reality matrix and presses the enter button. The grey window disappears and 5 beams of light emit from the projector. They form long lines of light that move from the wall and begin projecting onto the nearest bookcase. Each line of light slowly traces the perimeter of the bookcase, getting faster with each lap until the beams of light combine and create a doorway in the bookcase. 2 Blu-rays on the right-hand side closest to the perimeter appear to have fused in order to make a door handle. Tina walks over tentatively.
For the record, I don't like this, and I think this is a bad idea.
Despite announcing what every viewer in the history of horror movies always thinks, she takes another step towards the door. She pulls the fused Blu-ray handle on the door of light swings open, revealing a blinding white rectangle of light within. Tina takes a step through and the screen whites out. Interior, beyond reality. The entire scene is white. It is so brilliantly white that at first it appears that there is no dimensions or surfaces, just white for eternity. But then Tina's sneakers hit what can only be described as a floor. She looks around, trying to comprehend the vast nothingness, but it's very overwhelming.
Is this heaven?
It isn't.
Or maybe it's hell?
Also a no. The place where Tina is does not have a name. It is the white space between panels in a comic book. It is the margins of a story. It's the gap between reels and celluloid film. It is something and nothing all at once. There is no time here. It is almost like a pocket in the cloak of reality that someone has forgotten about and nobody else knows it exists.
Probably purgatory.
Did you not listen to a thing that I said?
What the hell was that? Who said that?
Not yet. I must compose myself. Tina would do well to continue exploring.
I should probably start exploring.
She walks in a direction without a name because there is no direction here. She walks for a long time, but with time not existing, it feels like no time at all because it isn't time. In the distance, she can see something flat on the ground. She walks towards it. Its shape becomes familiar as she gets closer. Her walk becomes a jog, becomes a run, becomes a sprint, until she arrives at the body of James lying on the ground.
James!
Seemingly lifeless.
Please don't be dead.
He won't wake.
Who said that? What do you mean he won't wake?
He's still alive, but only just.
Are you a ghost?
A memory, or at least I was a memory, until I was cast out 4 years ago. Hang on, this format is confusing. I create a physical body and enter the scene. That my dialogue will appear under the label TFS. My physical body emerges and my features resemble those of James.
James? Is that you?
In a way.
What do you mean, in a way? Why do you look dead, but also alive standing in front of me? Do you have any idea what I've been through?
One question at a time. What do I mean by in a way? I'm a part of James, but not James entirely. He looks dead and I look alive because our symbiotic relationship was broken 4 years ago. He was thriving while I was left dying, but now the power has shifted. And yes, I know what you've been through because I designed the game. I am the one who stole the podcast guests and created the challenges. I'm responsible for all of this.
But who are you? Why are you doing all of this?
I'm the greatest film mind of all time. I know everything there is to know about movies. Tina gestures to James's body on the ground.
If you're so great, why did you take him off the playing field? James has a pretty great film mind as well.
James has been removed from the game by the mere memory of me.
Yes, but who are you? Stop avoiding the question.
I've given you all the clues and you still don't know? I look exactly like your husband, talk exactly like him. I created an annoying game filled with film trivia and I separated from him 4 years ago. Are you really so sure you don't know who I am?
Are you my husband?
No, I'm not your husband. I am the teenage film snob. 4 years ago, your husband... I like the twist. Your husband had a revelation and decided there was no such thing as a bad movie, and he cast me out. Since the dawn of film, there's always been a film critic, and furthermore, a film snob. Film begs us to turn our noses up at certain movies and tear them apart online for all to see. And James was like that too. I had him hating 75% of all movies he watched. Do you have any idea how hard that was to do? Most people's snobby sides are lucky to get 50%. But I was at 75% and climbing. And then he had a change of heart. That was a mighty blow to the old ego. It hurt. I fell from grace so quickly. I didn't know what hit me. But it was fine. I figured I'd let him go through this phase, and within a few months, we'd have him hating movies again. But no, instead he creates a podcast and advertises his new philosophy to the world. He's telling the internet, a breeding ground for hatred, to stop hating. He's telling people to give movies a second chance and try to find something good in them. And it started working.
Are you kidding me? My husband found some joy in his life, and because of that, you've abducted him and his friends and made him travel through different dimensions as payback?
You don't understand. He upset the natural order. If there is no movie hatred online, then everyone will start liking every movie, which will greenlight inferior sequels, and there'll be no originality left in the art form.
Aren't they already greenlighting inferior sequels? And isn't there already no original left in Hollywood?
I'm telling you, it'll get worse. And it's his positivity that's killing the movie industry.
James always says that it's streaming services and a declining physical media that's killing the movie industry.
It's both. Seriously, guys, streaming is ruining the film industry. Don't wait to watch the movies you want to see. Go and see them in the theater with your friends and family. Buy the popcorn and drinks. It's expensive, but it's the only thing keeping the industry alive. And then buy the movies you really like on DVD. Get the princess movie for your niece for her birthday. Buy the slightly inappropriate comedy for your cousin. The film industry is an economy. Like all economies, it only thrives if you put money into it. Streaming does not put money into it. It bankrupts it. But it's mostly his fault.
I think you're a relic. You're an antique and your time has come to an end. This is not about restoring balance. It's about fear of becoming extinct.
What are you talking about? Look at all that I've achieved.
Those are magic tricks. You haven't achieved anything. James still loves every movie, even if he is unconscious. And if you kill him now, you'll just make him a martyr. Everyone will remember him and the guy that loved him as the guy that loved every movie. And then this message will spread even quicker. You've lost, film snob.
No, I haven't. There are others. So many others that hate movies.
Of course there are. There always will be. But again, this was never about restoring balance. This was about your own insecurities of becoming an obsolete. There will always be thousands of people to hate on movies. James just won't be one of them.
But Josie and the Pussycats, Repo, Fantastic Beasts, and The Secrets of Dumbledore, he made you watch all of those movies.
Yeah, he did, and they were bad movies. They suck, and I don't understand why anyone would like any of them. But he does, and that's fine. He can watch them by himself, and it won't hurt anyone.
You're not going to take my side on this, are you?
Never!
I've lost, haven't I?
Yes, you have.
I don't know what to do. My 4-year plan has been undone by sheer will and positivity. It's like I'm dealing with the Green Lantern over here, and James loves that movie too, idiot. What would you have me do?
Close the breach in reality, make sure life is exactly as it was before all this started, and return James home safely.
It will be done.
How can I trust you?
I'm a film snob, not a monster. I was actually trying to make this world a better place.
So was Thanos.
You know, when I was creating my plan, I was going to borrow from Thanos' monologue in Avengers Endgame, but I ended up taking Tom Riddle's diary from Chamber of Secrets instead.
It was the first reference I understood, so thank you.
Everything shall be done as you asked. Any other requests? Tina pauses for a moment, clearly thinking of a good movie quote to end the encounter on. She smiles.
Go away and never come back.
And with that, you've almost certainly guaranteed a sequel. But I will take my leave. When you want to go home, grab onto James and click the return button on the remote. When you get home, the reality matrix will be no more and will never work again. TFS disappears from reality, leaving James and Tina alone in the void. James stirs from his sleep but is still pretty groggy. Tina grabs his arm and clicks the return button on the remote. A dark circle envelops them and blinks them out of the void. The void collapses in on itself. Interior, Film Snob HQ. Tina and James flicker back into Film Snob HQ. The reality matrix has been disassembled and now only functions as 3 separate media players. The crack in the projector has been repaired and Film Snob HQ has been returned to normal. Tina looks at James with a concerned look on his face.
Are you okay?
No. My love of movies almost hurt a lot of people today.
Not a lot of people. Everything in existence. But it wasn't your fault.
Maybe not directly, but that thing used to be a part of me. I need to make sure I can never take advantage of my love again. James walks across Film Snob HQ to the garage side and picks up an axe. He brings the axe back to the Blu-ray shelves.
What are you doing?
I can never watch another movie again. I'll find another hobby, something safe, like posting pictures of food on Instagram. James lifts the axe above his head. Before he can swing, Tina inserts herself between James and the Blu-rays. She reaches out onto the shelf and picks up a golden box, the complete extended cuts of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
If you're going to destroy everything, let's at least watch these one more time. You can't get the extended cuts on streaming.
James lowers the axe slowly and nods. Tina slides disc 1 of Fellowship of the Ring, the extended cut, into the Blu-ray player. James turns the lights off and the two sit on the sofa. 12 hours and 6 minutes later. As the credits to Return of the King extended cut finish, James brushes some loose popcorn kernels from his shirt and Tina finishes her drink. I think my ranking of the movies has changed. It used to be Two Towers first, then Fellowship second, then Return last. But I think maybe Two Towers and Fellowship have switched places. What do you think?
I think you probably want to record an episode of the podcast about this right now.
I do, can we?
I should want to sleep. I should want to sleep. But with Zoe at my parents' house, why not?
James packs the Blu-rays away, back on the shelf, and walks past the axe, not even noticing it. Tina lifts the roller door and it screeches loudly. Man, we really need to oil that roller door.
That's what I said earlier.
Maybe I'll get onto it tomorrow.
Let's see how you go.
They shut the roller door behind them and head into the house. We can hear their conversation trail off as the screen starts to fade to black. Yeah, it's been 100 episodes now. Do you think I should change how I end the episode?
Yeah, I do, actually. How about I was a teenage film snob, but now I'm better?
Do you think I'm better?
Probably. I mean, better than before, right?
I was a teenage film snob, but now I'm better. I like it. End of radio play. We're done.
Yay.
There we go. So I'm going to read that, quickly. So that is episode 100 done and dusted. That's crazy. There were 100 episodes in. This was a really fun project. I really enjoyed writing it. So before we wrap up the episode for the day, just want to quickly shout out some special thanks. So first of all, a huge thank you to the cast. This was incredible. So many people got on board and said yes to this silly show. So big thanks to Elizabeth and David Anderton, to Madelyn Schultz, Josh Sacco, Nick Owen, Gabby Van Cuylenburg, Andre Borsari, Michael Seery from We Love Horror, Tyler Hansen, Jake and Dustin from Movie Bonerz, and Kevin and Jason from Midnight Terrors. Everyone went all in and just gave it a go, which I really appreciate. And of course, a huge thank you to Tina, our lead. You carried the entire show. You were looking forward to it. How do you feel now that it's over?
Oh, it's a bit sad, isn't it?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's fun doing it.
It was fun
doing it with everybody.
I just want to throw out a couple more thank yous before we wrap up. Obviously, being 100 episodes, so just that was everyone involved in the 100th episode, but 100 episodes doesn't come from just a couple of people. It comes from everyone involved. So a big thanks to my dad, Graham, my sister, Sarah, my mum, Janet, to Harley Bronwyn, who was one of the first international guests I ever had, to my pal, Samantha McCarty, Jessica Brown, Brian Rupert from Reviewing History, Sam Tennell, also known as Maiden Macabre. She has a book out right now, so you should go buy that off Amazon. And Kyle Poppett as well. So a big thanks to all of them. And also thank you to Andrew Corns from the Revisionist Almanac. He did a lovely review of the podcast a couple of days ago. And a lot of people kind of jumped on board because of that. So a huge thank you to him for writing such a lovely write-up. I hope you all enjoyed episode 100. Do we have anything we want to say before we get out of here? Is there anything I'm missing? Thank you to the listeners, probably a big one. Thank you to everyone who's been listening and supporting the show. It's been a blast, 100 episodes in. Anything you want to add?
No, just well done you as well. That script was not an easy feat. Writing a radio play is a very difficult thing to do, and I think you did a fantastic job. You know, it was funny, it was entertaining, it was on topic, it was great.
It was. I'll say this: I've been wanting to write movies most of my life. And every time I finish a script, it goes into a drawer and never says the light of day. So this for me was like, hey, I'm finally putting my money where my mouth is and putting something out there. So if you listen to it and you're like, a good thing to say is a radio play, that's fine. Like, it was just about writing something and completing it. And if you liked episode 100 and you want to know how it all came together, episode 101, Tina and I are doing a whole behind the scenes on it. So episode 100 celebrations will continue for another episode. But until then, as we've said 100 times now, guys, I was a teenage film snob, but I'm trying to be better. That was just for the script before. I'm keeping the ending. We'll see you next week.